but Mexican. Did you know Taco Bell failed in Mexico?
Huh?
Taco Bell
How?
attempted to launch into Mexico, but it failed because
Do it.
yeah.
Hmm?
Yes.
I think so.
Who, me? Oh.
What did I do?
Maybe because it might. No, it wasn't. They'll stop laughing. Happiness.
Way ahead of you. Kind of sus. Goodbye.
All right.
But
Have fun.
Again! Hello, chat. Sorry I'm running a little bit behind. Hopefully everybody is doing good today. Welcome to Thursday. I just got back to the computer. Um... Let me get this tweet out. Let's see, when was the last time I went live? Okay, there we go. Sorry for missing stream yesterday. I was home in time and everything, and literally, like, right as I got home, my power just went out. And it was like, oh, okay. So, thankfully, I had, like, I had leftovers that my mother had sent me, and I thankfully got, like, those reheated. But it was, like, right as I was sitting down with my meal, power just goes out, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, Guess I'll just deal with this. There's Tuesday sauce? Yeah, because we didn't stream Wednesday. There was no Wednesday my dude stream. Unfortunately, chat, that means I did get the Ordeal Call 2 recollections done without you because I needed something to do while I was sitting there in the dark. So I went ahead and did those, and they actually took me quite a bit of time. So I don't have a jam-packed day for you guys, but I did want to talk about something with you guys. Okay. Is that the correct link? Yes, I did put it in there. All right. The tweet is live. Do me the favor, chat. Go give it some love. And... Uh-oh. What was that? What? Okay, everyone can still hear me. I heard something. Like, it sounded like one of my mixers sliding, but I think it was just something else slid off of something. Okay, let me grab you guys today's sauce. Hip hop anana sauce. There it is. Like everything on YouTube is going good as well. Thank God. Okay. Let's get this party started. Knowing my luck, I've probably forgotten something, but y'all know how it is. Mr. Semi-Pro Streamer Man is not very... Wait, really? You know, I never check my camera because my camera is always there. Like, what the heck? Where is my camera? Yeah, it's just not even finding it. Give me a second, chat. Sorry about this. I swear it just does this on purpose just to annoy me. I gotta get under here. Okay. Looks like that worked. Ah. All right. There we go. Hi, chat. Sorry about that. Let me real quick configure it. The camera messing up is one of the worst things that can happen to stream, because once you go live, your camera and like usually like anything that uses it don't play nice together. So like if you have like driver failure or something and your camera goes out, which I suspect this is because like the power outage, right? So if that happens to you and you've already like opened OBS and started your stream, you can't do anything about it short of unplugging and replugging in the camera, because it goes like, no, it didn't detect it in the first place, therefore it doesn't exist. So it starts to get like real kind of stupid, if you ask me. Okay. Actually, it still looks a little grainy. Weird. I have to choose between either the background, like the fuzziness around my head being grainy, or my face being grainy. And usually I opt for the background being grainy. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Here's today's artwork. Go give the artist some love. It's a fantastic piece. I think I actually retweeted this piece not too long ago. Okay. Let me pull up chat here. How is everybody doing? Hello, Weiss. The link is last time's. Yeah. Sorry, I just literally noticed that the camera wasn't working the very like first second that I went live, and went like, oh crap, what do I do? Right? Tired? I feel you. I feel you on so many levels. Yeah, I think that's still good. You dodged the red man pruning you, Cad? Wait, what do you mean by the red man pruning me? What you eating? I have some leftover like blueberry scones that I bought. Kind of either for breakfast or as like a snack. Because they're kind of sweet. So I was like, whatever, I'll just eat them for dessert. Looks like it's snowing over here. Oh, damn. That's kind of wild. Yeah, like we've kind of had another cold front here again. It's been like 50s and 60s, which is nice. It's good jacket weather. It's not like freezing cold. But it was raining again, and our bathroom in the office, like, because we need a new roof after the last hurricane, it kind of leaks, but it doesn't leak like while it's raining, because it takes some time for it to like seep through. So it leaks like after it rains. So like yesterday it rained pretty heavily. Today it didn't rain at all. It was clear skies. But like the bathroom, because the like water had pooled on the roof, and it comes in there, like literally it was like dripping into our bathroom. So it was kind of oof. Did you bring enough for the class? No. Brought enough for me though. Cad, what is your nighttime skincare routine? I need to achieve that smoothness. I'm dead serious. I do nothing. Like basically nothing. Like best case scenario, I wash my face. That's it. So it's like occasionally if I start to form like a pimple or something, I will just start to wash my face, because it's usually that's like oil buildup. But I guess like I'm just not a very naturally oily person. Other than my hair. My hair is quite oily, apparently. Might be genetics or so. I think it's genetics. Like I hate to burst everyone's bubble, but yeah, I don't really have a skincare routine. Granted, you guys also don't get to see me up close, so I'm not sure everyone would like feel the same way if they really got to see a full screen of my face. Looks like you should be done with Valentine's Day farming either tonight or tomorrow night. Oh, I don't think I'm even close. I'd have to check. There's my drink. Tempted to MP5 Johanna? I mean, go for it if you want. Johanna is still a good unit no matter what people say, right? Like, it is what it is, but I think the FGO community will always be like meta obsessed. And if a unit is not the strongest unit, a lot of people just think that the unit is inherently bad. And it's like, I don't know. I never have ascribed to that mentality. Paid for with Johanna's own bonsai course? What the heck? Tiamat and Draco in a month? Yep. I was considering recording tonight for Chaldea Boys, but I think I'll put that off until next week. Because I think it'll both be more relevant then, and it will trend better, basically. Yeah, let me see how I'm doing for the shop. Because I legitimately have not paid attention at all. Okay, I'm almost done with points. Wait. Hold on, should I have just been taking points this whole time? Hold on. Well, shit. Aster's the one I have the least of. There's nothing else? Yeah, just the code removers. See what I mean though, chat? About like we still have how many days left in the event? Yeah, we still have like 7 days left in the event. And I rolled, obviously. But look how efficient I am in the event. Right? Like, this is why I say, whenever you guys roll in an event, make sure that you actually, like, go through and try to clear the shop. Because if you're efficient with your AP, you will. Like, you guys can see, I'm basically going to have everything done here pretty darn fast. This event is long. I mean, they all kind of are, right? Oh my god, fingers. There we go. Yeah, so only 2 more silver monuments, 13 more gold, and I guess, like, I can try to get those silver embers. I'm not buying the code removers. They're not worth it. But yeah, that's really good. And like I said, I'm at 2.6, so I'm not exactly like hurting for this. I bet what I can do here is I can probably shift to all points and just try to like min-max this. I already was all points. Interesting. So I guess past CAD is smarter than current CAD because I didn't remember doing that. I just did it. Whatever. Yeah, and we're 5-slotting too, and we still easily cleared. So I'll take it. This event seems more efficient than even I gave it credit for. For the future, well, it's funny because you have access to the guide that answers that question, Okayest. I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people are probably gonna like obsess over class score. That'll be a thing. Usually, the way I try to operate is here. Let me give you guys an example because I know some of y'all work better with visuals. Okay. So let's just pick a unit. Okay. So we got Komachi. This is the newest JP unit. Oh, I don't have that open. There we go. We got Komachi, right? It's the newest JP unit. She's a 5-star. So the way I like to think about this is if you come down here, you guys can see Komachi, like just about every other 5-star in existence, takes 17 of a statue. She will also take 17 of the silvers. So based off this logic, it's what, 34 for 2 units? It's 51 for 3. Usually I like to always have around like 50. I don't want to ever like dip below this number because as long as I have at least 50, it means I'm good for like the next 3 units of that class that come out. That's well ahead of the schedule, right? Now, this is for people that have all of their units leveled up. If you don't have all of your units leveled up, then there is no such number because the number of monuments and statues that you need is equal to the amount of units you still need to level up of that class. So usually the way I look at it is that 50 is a nice buffer. We do have class score though, so there is going to be considerations for how many of each statue and monument you need for class score. But besides that, I think it's 50 and then it's plus whatever you need for class score. And that's your number. After almost 2 years, I still cannot do foreigners. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. What will be your catalyst for Draco? I can think of a couple, but I don't really want to discuss it because of story. And I'd rather not like spoil anyone on that upcoming story. I typically won't level servants unless I actually need to use them. Oh no, allow me. So, chat. This, behold, look at this, chat. I have to say something. Let's speak. This is nothing. Level every single one of your units. I don't care what your excuses are. Do this. This is nothing. Because this is what sucks. 100%. This is way worse in most circumstances. So, do this because ascensions are just not that difficult to actually do. Incoming tower event, by the way, in a few months. True, that as well. But yeah, I know some of y'all like have different ways you want to maintain your account. My logic has always been level every single unit. Okay, it's not like imperative to get every unit online. I'm saying level every single one of your units. That way they're already leveled up should you need them. And you can do all of their like strengthenings and interludes, which gets you more quartz. It gets you more resources from doing them. So you get more milestones completed, yada, yada, yada. It's just a good idea, okay? I don't think there's any sane argument for not leveling all of your units, at least eventually. Also, the game drowns you in experience. I think the game has made experience a lot easier, as you guys saw, right? Like, I literally just got 100 5-star embers, 100 4-star embers, and 100 3-star embers. all from one event. Put into perspective, chat. I think to level up the welfare, so the 4-star welfare during an event, it is half cost. So you literally need 100 3-star embers, aka your silvers, and I think it's like 99 or 98 of your 4-star embers. So from just the embers in the shop, you can level up a welfare entirely. And that's not including the 5-star embers that are now in shops. So like that sort of thing gets really easy. But the idea to think about this is 5-star embers are 3 times more efficient than this. So with a 5-star ember, with a 5-star ember stack, you can basically level like everybody. Like it's not an issue, right? So it's like every event basically is just a new unit that you can level straight up, no matter their rarity. And that's not including like monthly purchases, you getting embers from other means, yada yada yada. That's one level for a 120. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even think it's that, because going to 100 is a lot more. I've never done a tower event. Will it be hard? More like tedious. You kind of need to stay on a tower event, especially if you don't have a very robust account. Because tower events, your units go on cooldown for a couple hours, and you can't use them again until that timer is up. So if you don't have a lot of units, you kind of need to be like staying on top of it. The more units you have, not only the faster can you get it done, but also like the more you can like rotate the units through and the less you actually care. Basically, you can do more in each sitting. I was referring to their skills. Yeah, skills I think are very much in the eye of the beholder. So it's always good. Like, and chat, even if I tell you you're wrong, I don't mean it like personally. I'm just saying it more for the benefit of chat as a whole than like, ha ha ha, you chatter are incorrect. I'm saying it more that like it is really a good idea to level all of your units, right? But yeah, skills are very much like it depends on the skill. It depends on how much you use the unit. It depends on the availability of the resources as to whether or not you even want to do it. Like, so I get it. But to me, you should pretty much always level the unit at least. That way, like I said, you get all of those extra nice benefits. Now, the arguments at least about milestones and stuff can also be applied to leveling your skills. But I think, you know, with how Ascension mats are functionally the end game of this game, it just kind of is a thing, and it's never going to go away. So leveling your skills up is a process, takes time, takes planning, and it is what it is. How's it going? It's going pretty good. How are you doing, Strom? I mean, they might, JC. I don't know. But I'm also going to be real with you. I don't really give two shits about Dokkan. Nor do I really care to dick measure against it, right? Like, and I'm not saying this to insult it. I'm just saying it in the reality of like, as long as FGO does its 10th anniversary as good as like it should, right? Like good for FGO is all it needs to do. It does not need to like compare itself to other gacha games, even though everybody always wants to do that. Everybody always wants to sit here and be like, oh man, this gacha game, that gacha game. And you know, we talk about it a lot on the stream too, but it's why like I always try to make a point of denoting to you guys that FGO is unique amongst all gacha games. There is no other gacha game like it. The closest that you probably have at this point in time is Honkai Star Rail, and that's largely because Honkai Star Rail ripped off the formula that FGO invented in that regard. And even then, I'm still going to say like that is its own self-contained thing that is still wholly different from FGO. How FGO operates and conducts itself is unique to it. Its systems are unique to it. Its reward structures are unique to it. So I don't think it needs to really compare itself to any other gacha game. We're going to wait at my Lancer class score. Nice. I like to skill up my waifus just to show up my fandom. Yeah, I mean, like, in general, if it's a waifu, you should absolutely, like, 10, 10, 10 that unit. I still remember arguing with people back in the day about, like, crystallized lores being a whale thing and stuff, and it's like, made 0 sense to me back then, still makes 0 sense to me now. But at least now it seems like most people are more understanding of, like, yeah, you can easily get crystallized lores, and it's not, like, a huge deal. But Oberon's third skill, does skill order matter with it? Or will it work with NP damage that's put on after? It can work with NP damage that's put on after. Just be careful because that skill like bricks the unit afterwards. So, like, you can put it on the unit and then it'll take into account all the buffs that you do, but you only have that turn and then it will just lock down the unit. We get welfare for star units that are part of event stories. Yeah, I know. Like, and we're not the only ones that do that either. It's just, I think the modern, I'm going to call it like MiHoYo system that obviously MiHoYo and several other non-MiHoYo games try to run is not very generous when it comes to things like welfares and stuff. In general, like unit counts in those types of games are way lower. And so because of that, it really like changes how they operate. This is why FGO has over 400 units. And I think like if you go look at Genshin, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Genshin still have less than 100 units? Like it's way slower at unit releases. And it's different types of systems. To be plentiful, but are still a scarce resource. Yeah. Do you feel they should raise the amount of lures they give out in events on JP? They actually have. They did it both when the a pin system came out originally, and they've done it again here recently, and that may be why, is because of the 4th and the 5th append. Was curious? Yeah, no, it's fine. You can always ask me questions. They release about 2 units in 40 days. And isn't one like one's a 5-star and one's a 4-star? Right? Which, I mean, FGO is not a much faster pace than that. I want to say like FGO is probably like in 60 days we get 2 of each. Right? Like so 2 5-stars and 2 4-stars. Usually. I think FGO is the only gacha where bikini skins are their own characters. Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, that's because they're not really skins, right? Like they are just instead a character. So I think every other game treats them as skins. But yeah, I don't know if we're the only one that does that. If we are, holy shit, that's a failure on other gacha games to make money. Not that they won't make money off of a skin, they will. But ask yourself which one you make more money on, a new unit or a skin, and I'm going to tell you which one the obvious answer is. FGO has 5 years over Genshin, and in the first few years, servant pace was much faster too. Yeah, I know. But Genshin will probably never surpass FGO. There's also like 5 separate MiHoYo games to account for, though. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a different story, right? Like, that's just, hey, they have different products. So at the end of the day, those different products are going to release things. But that can't really be used as a defense. Because if that were the case, let's ask yourself this. What if Genshin failed? If Genshin fails, they invested a shit ton of money. That all goes down the toilet. You do not see Honkai Star Rail. You do not see Zenless Zone Zero. They don't exist if Genshin fails. So ask yourself then, why did they choose the rate at which they're releasing units for Genshin to be slower? It's because it didn't matter, right? Like, they're still going to make a shit ton of money. And I've tried to explain this to people over and over and over and over and over again. Because everybody wants to talk about, like, ooh, FGO bad, FGO, like, it's scummy, it gets all the money out of me. And then people will sit there and unironically pay for a battle pass, pay for a, like, monthly currency ticket, aka the Welkin Moon. They will go spend money on weapon banners and stuff like that. And then they'll sit here and they'll say FGO is shit. And you're like, everything's all in one banner, buddy. It is what it is. And you're spending tons of money over on the other game, and you don't even realize it. So it's like, I don't know. I don't really care. It's just something I've noticed that's like really hypocritical of people a lot of the times. Most people feel like they're arguing just for the sake of like their own bias and not because like they're actually backing it up with facts. Or they think they're backing it up with facts, but they don't even realize themselves how much they're leaving out. Arknights also has some summer units. I was going to say, I actually think Arknights does too. Just from hearing my friends talk about it. Oh, and Kood, thank you for the sub. Sorry. My bad. Yeah, can we get some love for Kood for his, well, 2 years in a row, but 29 months. I just like FGO for how simple it is. Yeah, I mean, again, I think a lot of people would sit here and they will shit on FGO and they will say like the system is like it is simple. It's brain dead. There's no thought in it, and I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. Like I look at those people and I just go like I don't give two shits about them, because when people say something like that, it tells me they're ignorant. That they went in, they downloaded the game, they played through Fuyuki, and that's their basis for like the entire game systems. And it's like, okay, what if I told you that Fuyuki is like 1% of the game's overall like combat potential? And you're judging the entire game based off that 1% and not the other 99%. It's like, it is what it is. I can't tell them not to do it. It is what the game offers at first. It's just inherently wrong. A unit output POV. Yeah, I just like the only reason why I say this is because like, so if we were to look at like MiHoYo as a whole, you can't really defend it by saying, well, MiHoYo has multiple games, because MiHoYo makes multiple monies and has multiple dev staffs. That also doesn't really work, right? Like, basically, this isn't a defense for it either. MiHoYo just in general releases slower. And the reason why is I think there's a lot of like, I think they did a lot of studies and they kind of know that they're going to get the money out of you in other ways. And that's why they're confident that they can do it. So they just go slower and they kind of work, I think, a lot of it is too that they have to sit there and it's like they try to come up with the design. They try to come up with lore. And so like all of that is gonna kind of hurt them. FGO has to do all these same things too. I think the only difference here is that a lot of the times I actually think the lore side is easier for FGO. One, because they have straight up been doing it longer, and two, because we have the like real world historical stuff to fall back on. So designing lore, I think for Fate is just in general a researching type of involved process, but it's also a like very easy iterative process that they kind of just they have down to a science at this point that they can kind of go through the steps and say like, this is where we want this character to have this like trope or trait. This is what we want to do with it. And I think it's done more to create an interesting character rather than just purely to make more money. And I think that shows through with all of FGO and Fate's products in general. And it's really interesting too, because I've seen other people say like, oh, well, FGO has it easier on the design side too, because we use 2D sprites. This is actually not true at all. It's the reverse. It's actually easier on the 3D design side. And hear me out. Any 2D artist versus any 3D artist can basically tell you this is absolutely the case, because we know for a fact that Genshin and MiHoYo and a lot of their other products are using templates. And basically they already have a pre-made body that they just have to like kind of change things up a little bit on. So this is absolutely like getting rid of the hardest part of the process, which is sculpting the body. That takes by far the longest. And so from there, they just have to change the eye color, change the hair. The hair is probably the longest part for them, and then do the outfit. And the outfit's probably pretty easy. So 2D, you can't use templates if I remember correctly. You kind of can, but and you definitely see that, right? Like both systems have to have animations, so that's a thing. But if you guys have ever noticed certain units reuse animations in FGO, that's why. It's basically using developer resources smartly. And I'm not like blaming Genshin, right? Like I would do it too if I were them. It's smart. It's the whole reason to use 3D is because it once you've done like the first model, the next model that uses that same body type is just infinitely easier, and so on and whatnot. But this is also why, and I think this is probably one of the bigger criticisms of MiHoYo, is that like I chat, you guys can tell me if this has changed, but I know for a long time it was like they only have 5 body types, and it's like, yeah, that's definitely them just milking that. So like it is what it is. I'm surprised they haven't mixed that up if that's the case. Change the 3D model, making it more unique. Okay, so they finally did do it then. Good. Honestly, the fact that it took them like 5 years to do that's kind of fucking wild, but it is what it is. We need new Irish units. Google Irish historical figures. I don't even think it's that simple. I think a lot of the times they go with like what they think will fit the story. Like, I think people probably underestimate how big of historians and historical experts Type Moon is. And I see this from like so many different things. They have a lot of stuff like literary wise. They know many, many stories. What they don't know, they can very easily find, even if it's pretty obscure stuff. And an example of this is like literally look at Burrito Mart, which almost nobody had heard of prior to her release. Boom, there you go. That is actually a story that ties in with the Fairy Knights because of kind of what they were doing there. And they still spun that and made it their own thing. So it's really interesting to watch them work sometimes. Servants from the last chapter will be broken. They're all strong units. Oh yeah, I 100% agree. Right now, Star Rail's in kind of a slump. So this is interesting, right? Because I say they have 3 different dev teams. And I don't know this for a fact. But this is at least the way they have held themselves up. Is that, like, there's a dev team for Genshin, there's a dev team for Honkai, and there's a dev team for ZZZ. That's my understanding of how MiHoYo works. And I'm sure there's probably one for, like OG Honkai and stuff. But something here makes me wonder, because when Honkai came out, Genshin slumped for a long time. When ZZZ has come out here. Now you guys are telling me Honkai is slumping. So I'm wondering if maybe it's not as like clear cut and delineated, that there may be like shared support staff amongst all three that do have to ping pong between them, which I'm going to criticize if that's the case, because if you're running 3 separate games and they're all live service model, you should not be like overlapping hard with your dev staff. You should be, especially because they're all profitable games, you should be having a support staff for each of them. You should be not like mixing and matching the devs amongst the projects. But I can definitely look at that and say, like, maybe it's also like a money issue, and it like essentially the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right, as you guys have heard. So maybe it's the team that needs the resources the most gets it. So we know for a fact that when ZZZ launched, it did not launch like as good as it should have, and they really tried hard to bring ZZZ online and make it popular. And I'm going to say they've done that. I think like just general consensus opinion of that game seems to be a lot better now. But so I wonder, like, have they committed a lot of resources to making sure of that? And meanwhile, like, Honkai hasn't gotten as much. I don't know. And this is just from me, an outsider looking in, so. Because of massive power creep, people aren't rolling dupes because they get replaced real quickly. Yeah, I mean, that's not surprising to me. Because again, I'm going to point this out, chat. Give me an example of MiHoYo ever giving a unit a buff. And I'll give you the one exception, Zhongli. If you can give me another example besides Zhongli where a unit got a buff, I want to hear it. Because like this is the only one that I know of across all 3 of their games. All 3 of the more recent games. Maybe like I think someone told me before that Honkai Impact 3rd did do buffs quite a bit, but I may be misremembering that. But yeah, across those 3 games, I think Zhongli's the only one. Which this is an interesting thing, but I really do wonder if that is their entire business model, is just power creep and just keep doing it and hope that everybody keeps just don't look back to the old unit. Problem with this is, chat, literally look at my screen right now. Look above me. Look over here. Look who is on this screen. Right here. You can release a new unit, a new version of this unit, and I would love it. I will buy it. But you can never make me like another unit more than I like this unit. It's almost impossible. The only version that you could make me like more would have to be another one of this. Because this is awesome. I like this. This is my cup of tea. Every person has someone like this. Everyone. Okay? Maybe some people don't, because it maybe like that one that really catches their eye hasn't come out yet. That's fine. But the problem with this is, as you leave these units behind and you move on into the future, it doesn't really matter what else comes out, because you just want this and you want more of it. And so inherently, I think like these live service character-driven games have this issue. If they don't maintain their back catalog of units, they can't get people to care. But if they maintain their back catalog of units, they don't make as much money because they can't get people to roll the new stuff. So it's a catch-22. You just basically choose not to buff the old units, and then you make more money, but eventually people go like, no, this isn't worth it, and you start making less money. You have to have like a balancing act of the two. And it's wild, but it is what it is. It's more surprising people didn't see it coming. I think literally when like Honkai Star Rail came out, I immediately pointed out that was going to be an issue because they did not do it at all in Genshin. And I said, like, if they want to steal FGO's model and do it like FGO, but they don't buff units, this game will not succeed long term. So we'll see, right? Like maybe it will, but this is the problem with this sort of stuff. Developers, especially with a live service model where they're trying to make money off of gacha and characters, are going to design the game to continue to keep making money. They're going to do this in a way that, again, I think is going to amount to power creep. Why? Because power creep is how you keep making money. If you make the next unit better than the previous unit, people have to roll the next unit. But eventually this pisses people off, as we already denoted. So there is just this inherent problem with it. It's you have to drive sales in order to keep funding the game and developing updates for the game. But eventually it's not good enough. And I think this happens to just about every live service game. And the only ones that have stood the test of time are usually the ones where the actual gameplay loop is the attraction, not whatever other thing you're trying to sell. If the actual gameplay is good, people will keep playing. Now, y'all can call me out for this, but this is an example. And I think it's certainly debatable, but I don't think it's really deniable. League of Legends. It's the example I keep using for all of this. League of Legends has been around a long time. People freaking badmouth that game all the time. People freaking hate that game. People freaking are getting all over the devs about the stupid, scummy decisions that they make, including recently removing loot boxes, which the developer themselves admitted that they did purely because they found out that people were playing their game free to play. Like, it's the scummiest thing I've ever seen a developer say. And League will probably still be fine. People will keep playing League. Why? Because people love League. People love that gameplay loop, and people will keep freaking doing it over and over and over and over again. So, like I said, people can dispute whether or not they think the gameplay is good, but there's something there. People, it's like crack to them. They keep going back, no matter how toxic the community or how money grubbing the developer is. They will keep going back because they love the gameplay. And that's really what's going to have to stand the test of time in any of these live service games. If you don't have an enjoyable game, at the end of the day, you can try to trick people. You can make them think that that's what they need, but it doesn't work. Like eventually people wisen up and they figure it out. People don't know what they want. Yeah. Very frequently. Like, again, I've seen so many people trying to like auto and NP skip FGO, and when you do that, you don't really play FGO anymore. Like, chat, I'm going to give you an example of this. I don't know very many people who auto the game. Why? Because people who auto the game don't really play the game. They don't really interact with the community very much, if at all. It's just another gacha game to them. And it's the truth. If you don't like the gameplay, you're not really going to play the game. And that is exactly the example. It's people that auto the game and want to auto the game usually don't like the gameplay of the game. Whereas if you do like the gameplay of the game, you're going to keep playing it. It's tale as old as time. I may like some of Nikke's characters, but I don't care for its gameplay, so I don't play it. Yeah, I think it's exactly an example of this, chat. Azure Lane. I'm sorry, but to me, Azure Lane is pretty much a dead game. I'm sure there's still people playing it, but it's probably kept alive by those veterans at this point. And I'm not going to say that like FGO isn't in a similar scenario, right? I think at this point, FGO is getting there, but to me, Azure Lane is very much a dead game until it comes out. Until it comes out with a new skin. And then a bunch of people go flooding back for that new skin because they're like, oh boy, that's great. But then the same thing happens again as everybody just kind of leaves. So I think that's the sort of message there is that, like, even if you look at something like Azure Lane's gameplay has never struck me as its strong point, which is kind of sad. I think like if Azure Lane had better gameplay, and I think don't they have like a 3D game coming out, Promilla or something like that, Promilia? So like maybe that helps it, right? Like maybe that really helps the IP, because I think people love the characters, people love the designs. It's just the gameplay that's kind of ass. Azure Lane is almost entirely Dojin now. Yeah, I like understandable, right? Honeymoon Magic runs out. Yeah, I mean, I like chat. I played Girls Frontline 2. I think Girls Frontline 2 is a fine game. I played it for like a month, but for me, it's too much. There's too much like tchotchke stuff to do on a week to week, day to day basis. So I dropped it with really no regrets. I just said, okay, I like the characters, I like the game, but this game style, this gameplay is not really for me. Not the actual like gameplay of going into a node. That was fine. Just simply all of the things they wanted you to do on a daily and weekly basis that made me go like, nah, dude, I'd rather just come back to FGO, do my 3 runs, be done, not care. Promilia, different universe though. Think waifu pal world. You can capture waifus and train them. Like, no, to be fair, from the very little bit that I know about Azure Lane's story, I'm not surprised if it's a different universe, because I think they kind of pigeonholed themselves narratively with that. Girls Frontline 2's monthly revenue has dropped hard. I suspect that's probably why it went on Steam. But, like, I don't think it's a bad game. I think they don't have the gameplay loop right. I think that's the problem, right? Like, and I explained this to you guys before, but it's like, not only do you have your AP that you have to spend down, you have daily quests that you need to do. You have event quests, because there's almost always an event active. Even in that event, there is side event mini games. Then there is basic PvP, which is just you playing against a group that a player made. And then there's like competitive ranked PvP that is like only achievable once you've gotten to a certain point. Then there is then there's the weekly boss fights. And then there is, I want to say, then there's like your dorm. And then there's your, how do I, like your auto farm materials. It's like part of your dorm. So like all of this, chat, all of this you have to do like in any given week. And most of this stuff, like your AP, your dailies, the event, the side event, your PvP, the dorm, and the auto farm are all daily. All of that. So only I think like the boss battle is weekly, and like whatever the competitive PvP isn't. Everything else there is daily. Oh yeah, platoon stuff too. I forgot some. I'm sorry, chat. So like I said, that's the issue right there. I'ma say it once, I'ma say it again. I've been saying it at this point, chat, for years now. Back in the day, devs knew they had to sell you on their game. What do I mean? There was no live service. There was no like DLC, no microtransactions, none of that. Okay? Devs had to sell you the box. So the box had to be a great presentation. The game had to be an interesting idea. They really had to talk it up and promote it. And then when you got it, the game had to be good, or else you were going to go refund it and talk shit about it, right? So they knew they had to have a good game out of the gate. And it was such a better time in that regard. Products were wholly self-contained. They were way less buggy. Not that they didn't have bugs, but the bugs that they usually had were not terrible game-breaking ones. And again, you saw this idea of a feature-complete product getting put before you, okay? Nowadays, devs don't like the fact in a live service industry where everything is trend-driven, they don't trust you anymore. They say, you know what? We have to make you play our game. We can't sell the game to you. We have to make you play it. And furthermore, we have to shackle you to it. We can't trust that we've made a good product and that even if you're bored with it now, that you'll come back to it because you remember it fondly. No, we have to make it so that you can never leave. That's what all these like daily tchotchke things are. They're designed to waste your time. They're designed to keep you in the game. They're designed not to break a like cycle and to implement a habit within the player base. So that you feel bad, you feel that FOMO if you've missed out on these things, and you feel this like shame, and you go like, oh man, I really got to like get back to it and keep doing it. Because they know if you stop playing for even a day, you're done. You're never going back. That's the thing. And their data shows them that. But it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, because the entire thing is once you break this, you go right back to the next trend. And the cycle continues. You keep moving in this like weird ass box, right? But the other thing is, while this cycle continues, it's not with the same game usually. Once you break the shackles that bind you and you leave this product, there's insane FOMO. But you don't care anymore. So the second you stop caring about FOMO, you're free, but you also don't think fondly of the product because they put all that FOMO in you. It kind of was low key there the whole time, increasing anxiety and kind of forcing you to play it. And you're now burnt out and you couldn't give a rat's ass about it. So you went from loving the game to hating it and remembering it poorly. So again, an example of a game like this is like Pal World, where the dev has told you go play other games. You don't care, and that's why so many people have gone back and played Pal World even since. Same thing with like Helldivers. Yeah, they've had a bunch of debacles, but people keep going back and playing it too because the devs aren't trying to keep you there. They're not like doing all these things. They may have like dailies, but that's just about it. And they have really easy like catch-up mechanisms and there's no problem. Basically, they're way more consumer conscious and forgiving compared to like, say, the modern gacha game that tries to force you to do everything. So again, it's why once people drop a gacha game, they almost never go back. They quit it like cold turkey because people don't like having all these extra things to do. They don't like basically having a full schedule of like all these little tchotchke things that are not the gameplay that they enjoy or the characters that they love. That's the issue at play here. And so it makes people hate the game and they move on to another game and they never come back. So the developers try to keep you there, but they basically cause this to happen by trying to keep you there. It's a really, really weird thing. Freaking Stockholm Syndrome gacha mechanics. Oh yeah, that's absolutely a thing. Every game now wants to be your mono game. Yes, every live service. So like normal single player games don't, but every live service game wants you to only play it. And to be fair, chat, do you know who you have to blame for this? Do you know who you have to blame? There is a culprit. for why every live service game tries to keep you there. You were the problem. Allow me to explain. You see, for years, players screamed at developers that they didn't have enough to do in their games. And so developers gave it to them. And then developers realized that they could make a crap ton of money off of it. And then developers decided to start doing that. And then players didn't like it. So then developers said, whoa, 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 where are you going? And there came the shackle. You can't leave. We have another thing for you. No! That's exactly it. It's that. We started the cycle, chat. We bitched and moaned and complained. We are responsible. Because we couldn't help that a game that we loved and were obsessed about didn't have enough to do. We should have said, hey, you know, it'd be really awesome if they added like a new expansion to this game. But it's cool, I'll wait. But no, we couldn't do it. We had to bitch, moan, and whine, and scream, and complain, and demand, and, you know, throw temper tantrums. And there you go. That is why the live service industry has developed the way that it is. Do you have any intentions to play the new Yakuza Pirate game? I don't have enough time on my docket currently, but I certainly would like to. Also, I'm sitting at full AP here. What am I doing? What am I doing, chat? Let's go in here. I got Enkidu's interlude to do. I have no idea how difficult this is going to be. Hopefully not at all. We can change that. Go with Morgan. Lefe. She can't do that with Black Grail. M Confust. Oh, Koyan had it. Weird. Everybody here is like Bond 5. Let's actually Bond Nightingale in the back line, because I actually need Nightingale for interludes and stuff. No. Can't level the Mystic Codes this way. Just literally take some free QP. Okay. But yeah, I do think the Pirate Yakuza game looks good. Did it come out today? I think it's literally like today or tomorrow. If you're missing weekly missions once, I feel less painful about it. See, that's the thing, right? Like, it's exactly that mentality. Once you miss it once, you realize. But before you miss it, you think, I can't miss it. I can't ever miss it. Same thing with logins, chat. Exact same thing with logins. This is why games do this. So it's dailies as well. But it's like once you miss them, you realize they're not as important. But then you're kind of free from that mental shackle and you start to like care less about it. And then that frees you up to maybe miss other things. And then you stop caring about the game as much. And then you basically, you don't log in ever. Today is launch day. Yeah, I didn't get to see it at all today if people were playing it. But the bond bonus they're going to implement, if you have a support in the front line in one of the 3 slots, winds up happening with that extra bond. Nothing. Like, it's just, so like, for instance, here, these 2 units are mine. They get plus 20% for being in the front line. Okay? So, like, These two get it. This is a support. You can't bond them anyways, so you get nothing. So to me, I almost always try to have my support in the front line because of that. I know, chat. Everybody goes like, but CAD, it's more bond. Here's the thing. This is bond 15. My Oberon that was in the backline was bond 15. The Castoria I had there was also bond 15. Like, your meta supports are going to be bond 15 very quickly after that change. Bond is a trap. Yeah, it kind of is. Bond is such a good thing, but it ceases to be a good thing when it's a unit you need to use and you have them maxed. That's the problem with it. So this is why a lot of people are screaming for like, hey, please, will you let us have more bond? I don't think the developers will because of how they did the coin system, so I now want bond overflow. I think that is exactly what they should do. I probably need to make a video on that. A good video idea. Bond 11 plus gives a good reason to keep using a unit. Not really. So this is another like mental trap that they've set. Everybody assumes that like, oh well, you get like 30 quartz. You do, but the amount of bonding that you need to do to get this is exponentially higher. It actually is pretty much the same thing as just leveling your unit to bond 10. The only difference in the end is actually the bond grail. So that's the interesting part of this. If you have bond grails to spare, yeah, it's fine. If you don't, oh shit. Do you think the devs watch your videos? I think some of the NA staff has before. I don't think anyone else does. I certainly don't think the JP staff does. And the reason I think somebody on the NA staff does is we had an anniversary one time where Albert seemed to call out something specifically that I said. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. But besides that, I don't really have any proof. Do we have an Evo festival this year, or is it next year? It's this year. But bond was always going to be an issue. There is always going to be a cap. True. You're not wrong. The issue at play is they accelerated the bond in the front line, not the back line. If they did the back line, this is all the units back here that you're always bonding. These are all the units that you're always using. You wanted the back line to bond faster. You didn't want the front line because the front line includes your meta supports that you go like, wait a minute. And also usually your most used damage dealer. What's Albert's username in chat? Oh, I'm sure like Albert himself didn't watch. Albert probably just heard about it from like someone who did. I say that. I don't know. Maybe Albert does watch, right? Like, I don't hate the NA staff by any means because I think that like the NA staff is probably trying to make the best of a bad situation. They're probably underfunded and understaffed and kind of making do with scraps. So like my only criticisms are that I think things need to be better and that I don't put that squarely on them. However, I do think they have a duty to like say something to the higher ups to try and see if they can get change to be made. But who knows? Maybe they have to pick and choose their battles. Maybe that's not something that they can do on the regular. Maybe they can't get more funding, can't get more manpower, you name it. So like without knowing everything behind the scenes, it's difficult to really say like, oh, it's like it's Albert's fault. Like we don't know, right? Like we will never probably know. It's one of the reasons why like I would love to sit down with some of the NA staff and actually like talk to them. Even if it was like unofficially and off air, because I feel like that would probably lighten me up as a content creator for how much I criticize them. but also at the same time, it would also be nice to hear it in an official capacity, because I feel like that would help the player base have a better understanding of like, hey, this is what the relationship is, and this is how it is behind the scenes, right? Like, so we would be more understanding and more knowledgeable, and we would know not to, like, you know, blame them for things. What if you swap? It's whatever order they were in at the beginning of the match. And you know that because at the end of the match, whenever you see the 5 units, right? So you have like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like depending, like if this was your front line, it'll be these 2, or if this was your front line, it'll be these 3. So it just depends on what you used originally. You'd wonder if the JP management are watching all the stuff other gotchas do and succeed and ignore it. I think to an extent they do. I think also, though, to an extent they don't. I think from what we've heard before and from talking with other people that like for instance, I'll talk with Trubs, and Trubs a lot of the time pays a little bit of attention to like what's going on over on the JP side of things, especially some of the like inane communications that most people don't really bother to read. Trubs will sit down and he will read all of that. And so like it's interesting at least to hear that, yeah, hey, like they seemingly do want to like change things for the better for FGO, but also I think Aniplex and its staff is old and kind of stuck in their ways, and that way is like the old guard way of doing things. And so it doesn't mean that they're ever like the cutting edge in terms of like marketing the game or like putting in new stuff into the game or allowing it to be put into the game. And it may be the same deal within like Type Moon and Lasingle as well. So we don't really know. So bureaucracy could be bureaucracy, could be egos, could be, I don't know what, money, right? Like, and I know chat's gonna sit there and be, did I just brick my unit turn 1? No, because this is turn 3. Were there 9 enemy waves? Huh? So confused. I'm so confused. From a creative standpoint, you don't want to get too into the weeds about what other games are doing. Yeah, I think it's important to recognize when another game has created a quality of life that could really help your game out. But I think you should not try to copy them. So chat brings up other content creators all the time. I normally just don't discuss them, and we even have like rules in chat for saying, hey, please don't do that. So if you guys ever bring up a content creator and I'm not like it's not a subject matter that I had already broached, if you bring that up on your own, you get timed out by the mods. And a lot of the time people bristle at that. They go like, why am I getting timed out? It's been a rule in chat. You just didn't read it. But there's a couple of reasons for that rule. But regardless, like, yeah, I don't watch other content creators. I do like have some friends that I watch, but in general, I don't sit there and watch their content that they're putting out, because that will influence my content. That will make me think about only doing things that they're doing. And then it will make me worry about like, oh God, what if I copy them? Well, I can't do that idea because this person just did this idea. Like, I just don't watch it at all. And then if something like that happens, then it doesn't matter, because it's like, oh, it's a coincidence. I didn't do it on purpose, right? So it is what it is. Your account review innovation is being done in other gotcha games now. I was the first person to do it for FGO. I was not the first person to do account reviews, though, in general. Trying to remember where I saw account reviews first, all the way back in the day. Was it
Summoner Wars? No. I don't think it was Summoner Wars. It may have been somebody in like... It may have been somebody in like Azure Lane. I think it was, but I don't remember. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think it was Grand Blue Fantasy. I know Grand Blue Fantasy was out back then, but I remember seeing someone doing that and thinking like, oh, that'd be a good thing. Like, and then I kept getting asked basically about like certain people's accounts. So those two things kind of like created a confluence of factors for why I was like, you know what? Why don't I just start helping people out? Account reviews are ego checks these days. Frankly speaking, that's because anybody else that does account reviews, especially in the FGO community, is usually just doing it for that. It's nothing more. Do you still do media share day? I do. I just have not had the time because part of the issue that I keep having is that I keep like having to miss streams and stuff. Not that I haven't like been consistent. I have, but like for instance, I had to miss a stream this week because my power went out. So I end up kind of playing from behind each day and having other stuff that I have to get done. All right, this is not good. Hopefully they kill Morgan here because I got to get the party to rotate. Actually should have put that third, but whatever. It's always nice to have a second opinion or stuff. Yeah, I'm not gonna like fault anyone for wanting to do account reviews. I just often find that the people that do it usually are doing it nowadays for, again, like it's ego or it's like it's content for them or something like that. And I don't think it's necessarily wrong to do it for content, but the whole reason I got into it was doing it just to help people. It was never done like explicitly to like try and grow the channel. Which is really funny because I think a lot of people looked at me doing that and thought like, oh, that was the secret to CAD success. And I'm like, no, I mean, Chad, I can tell you the secret to my success right now. It is consistency. You have to treat streaming like it's a job, basically. That's the only way you'll be successful with it. And it's really funny because I see people all the time that get that one aspect of it wrong. And it's like, you have to keep doing it. If you have no consistency, people just aren't going to show up. It is what it is. If you give us Grand Saber, Grand Berserker to roll, no. Because we already know there's a Grand system coming. So it's going to instead be that you like have to select one of your units and declare them to be your Grand. When a game brushes off player concerns, when those concerns are valid. So, hear me out. When we say those concerns are valid, I immediately have to ask, are they? They're valid to you. They're valid to like the guy next to you. They're valid to the other guy that's upvoting you on Reddit. They're valid to the guy that liked your tweet. But are they valid? Like, because you guys are just a closed group of people that is a microcosm of the entire, like, community for the game. So maybe the opinion isn't valid at all, and it's just a bunch of, like, whiny complainers. Now, I'm being devil's advocate. I'm not saying that this is always the case. But the reason I bring this up is because there are some points that are valid and there are some points that are not. And people think they are and they get really angry about it. But the reality is they don't even realize what they're asking for, or they don't realize why it can't be done. That sort of thing. So it's like a lot of the time, like gamers have a tendency to be really, really vocal about stuff like this. And a developer's job, and what will make a good developer, is being able to filter out the noise from, hey, this is an actual concern. Like, this is something that we probably need to look into. So what you usually do, you don't look at the valid point someone is making. If you're a good developer, you ask them, why are they making that point? You don't look at their point. Their point's probably stupid. Because so many people are like armchair developers and think that they know better than the developers. Say that, myself included, right? A good developer is instead going to go, why are they saying this? Is there a root cause of this problem? Like, for instance, people are complaining that we need more stuff to do. And they like, or like, not even that. It'll be like, people want like PvP in the game or something like that, right? And a developer will be like, why? Is it because there's not enough stuff to do? Is it because there is not enough rewards in the game? Is it because they want some way to interact with other players? Like, that's what they're going to sit there and ask themselves if they're a good developer. A bad developer will just be reactionary and will just go like, oh, people want more PvP in the game. I guess because they want PvP. They won't think about the why, because sometimes this is a valid point. Maybe you should put PvP in your game. Maybe there is a demand for it. Other times, maybe PvP is a bad idea and it will wreck your game. So instead, you need to ask yourself, why are they asking for it? And that's why I say, like it really depends on the set of circumstances as to like, is what the player is asking for, is their opinion actually valid? Is their concern a real big thing? Or is it a like extraction and extrapolation on what the actual root problem is? Blindly listening to the community is a fast track to ruin. Yeah, 100%. Do you think events should automatically be added to the main interlude shop after it ends? Yes. Yes, I do think that should be the case. Will it? No. Did I just... Oh, god damn it. I just buffed her. Hello, Beer. How's it going? Do that. Oh, that's stupid. God damn it. I just realized what that creature is. It'll go to sleep, but it's going to remove my buffs on the next turn. As they say, if you let them, players will optimize the fun out of the game. Exactly. Song fits your propagatory? It always does. You messed up? You're on autopilot? I'm just more, like, engrossed in the discussion with chat. I'm not about to get torched by a level 120 Phantom of the Opera in PvP. Right. And so that's where it's like, do people actually want PvP? No. But why is that person complaining? Why are there a couple of people complaining, right? Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes there is a root cause for, like, why this is an issue. And people just don't realize it. Eastbound down, loaded up and trucking. I couldn't even hear the lyrics, but I could hear the beat, and I knew that's what the song was. Do players actually want Bond 20? There you go. That's a great question. Do players actually want more Bond levels that will take them forever to get to and take more Bond grails? Or do players just want to be Bond efficient and not feel like they're wasting their uses of their favorite units? And congratulations, chat. You just walked right into my entire thought process for why I recommended Bond Overflow. That is exactly how I got to that. I said, I don't think it's necessarily that players want this. It's that players need a way to be more efficient. It's funny though, because like that is 100% how a dev should think. A dev should go like, well, we don't want to give them Bond 20 because then we got to give them more coins. And we don't want to give them more coins. So how do we solve the Bond issue? Well, is there a Bond issue? There's kind of a Bond issue. People are not liking that this is happening. Okay, how do we fix this without giving people more coins? Well, what if once you got to Bond 15, we allowed you to still gain Bond, but it got distributed to other units? There you go. It's that simple. That is how a developer should think. They should find a way. Do you know the way? I do not know the way. Let's do this. I'm gonna be curious to see if I can actually manage to get this. Giving into the community is a last resort. So there's another idea here, chat. Some of you may be married, and some of you may have arguments with your significant other slash spouse slash boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, right? Sometimes when you get in that argument with them, like they're right and you have to let them win, but you don't want to do it in such a way that makes them actually think that they won. So you want to do it in a way that makes them go, okay, this is a middle ground, this is a compromise. It's exactly the way game design works. Sometimes you have to give the community what it needs without letting the community think that it won. And it's really weird. And the reason why you don't want to let the community, well, like to a degree, you want to let the community think that they won, but you don't want the community to think that you caved, right? That's probably the better way to put it. Because if the community thinks that you caved, they're like sharks and you just put chum in the water, right? Like there's blood everywhere and the sharks are looking to feast. So they're going to keep pressing. They're going to keep going and they're going to keep demanding more and more and more and say like, they caved. That means they're going to cave on this other stuff. So you have to, like, this is why you see so much dev speak on some of these things where they go like, well, yeah, we made this change, but it's not because of the community's demands. We just realized that we had to make a change. Have you ever seen developers like talk about crap like that? That's why. That's 100% why. Gaslight the community? I mean, to a degree, yeah. There is no bond issue. Just don't keep using the same servant there 400 plus. You're right, Devil. But, hey, would you like to use a new Buster unit? Would you like to use a new Quick unit? Would you like to use a new Arts unit? What happens when, like, the majority of your supports are already max bond? Do you just use it without the support? Do you just shoot yourself in the foot? At what point? And trust me, chat, I am ahead of the game. I am well ahead of the game. You're going to see it in the next year. More and more people are going to start complaining about this because more and more people are going to be getting to these situations. They're going to be going, what the fuck? Why can I not gain bond on anything other than like 2 of my units? Why is this a thing? This is really stupid. And people are going to really begin to complain about it. So as people get to bond 15, more and more people will be converted over to the, hey, there's a problem side of this. Because the truth of the matter is, there is a problem. It's just not a lot of people are experiencing the problem yet. Next Wednesday is FGO's 3,500 days anniversary. Jesus. Caving to bullying causes more. Exactly. DL gets it. If you cave, if the community thinks that you caved, they're going to ask for more. They're going to demand more. They're going to go like, okay. Just reserve the bond for meta support. All my units are. So to be fair, that's exactly what I do on NA. I play my NA way better than my JP. Why could I not do it on my JP? See, this is an interesting thing. You should know the answer, chat. The whalier you are, the more options you have. The more free to play you are, the less options you have. And the more likely you are, in order to be able to do something efficiently, to have to use the strongest option that you have available. So, whales have way more units to bond and end up having more units to spread around as a result. They have more options and more capability to actually share the bond. Free to plays have fewer options and kind of have to use the strongest stuff that they have because they don't sit there with a bunch of NP5s and they end up having to do this all the time. So this is another really, really interesting issue to this. But a lot of people don't realize that either. What you're saying is that better gacha rates would help. No. That is, as we like to call, a straw man. That is, hey, but if I can get better gacha rate, no, that doesn't help you. Because let's be honest, you'd still be a free to play player with a better gacha rate. That might give you a couple more units, but it probably wouldn't be spent instead on like NP5ing a unit. And therefore, you would not have the strong options. Or if you did, you would spend it all on NP5ing the one unit, and then that would be your go-to option that you would keep using for Bond. That is to say, being free to play and having a better gacha rate will not turn you into a whale. The whale will still have more options than you. Less units on JP? Yep. That is why it's happened to me. I have less options, and the options that I do have to be hyper invested in to be strong enough to actually do some of the content. So it's a weird issue, but it is a thing. Interludes? That's right. I whale, but you usually still need meta supports to do 90++ unless you don't care about 3-turn. Yeah. And that's the thing. I think they're basically giving you a way. So you have 90++ content, right, chat? And it's like, okay, you can choose to do it. And you can decide, would you like to 3-turn? Would you like to be bond efficient? Would you like to be drop efficient? And you're gonna have to choose. You're gonna have to choose between one of these. Because you can have one of them, maybe two of them. You can't have all three. That's the problem. So a lot of people will say, oh, just give up the 3-turn. Sure, that's fine. That's a thing. But you can't have all three. So what happens when you get into now a lotto scenario where you can't give up the 3-turn? Shit. Like I said, it's a trap. No matter what logic you guys use, it all keeps going back to it. It's really smart by the devs, but it is a trap in the end. They will get you somehow. They will cause you to be inefficient in some way. By design, really. So will NA get a 2800 days campaign soon? Usually it's whenever JP got it. I believe NA gets it a month earlier, I think. The highest level of the node is always optional. Oh, so you would rather step down to the 90+. Oh, well, now you're less efficient. Now you're less drop efficient. To be fair, not always, right? Like, and we have made this argument before. But yeah, that's what they're doing. That's exactly why so many people feel like they have to do the 90++ is because this like baked in idea of the 90++ being the most efficient and people feeling this pressure to do it. I still cleaned the Valentine's event, even doing 90++ in 4 to 6 turns. Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people put overemphasis on the 3-turn side of it. Right now, I try to be bong efficient. Same. For support to Lotto. Yeah, and I do too. Like, usually, like something like this on JP, I just don't even care at this point, and I'm just saying like whatever, and I'm using my Bond 15s because I have no idea what these interludes entail, and I don't care to go look them up. So I'm just like taking a composition that I know will reasonably work. Oh, good. I can go ahead and brick the unit. But normally, yeah, I'm very efficient with how I do my bond. Yeah, we normally get 2 lottos a year. This last year on JP was the only time we've ever had one. I'm in the photo and I don't like it. Less efficient when not taking into account if your account actually needs the node materials. No, that's only looking at it from a lotto perspective. Because if we're looking at it from an event perspective, usually the like the 90++ node will just drop more event currency. But not always, right? Like I said, like there is some like in between. The real problem is, are we talking about doing 90+ and 90++? Are we talking about doing the 90+ at 6 slot and the 90++ at 5 slot? Because this is the only way that they're actually somewhat comparable. The second we start moving to 6 CE of 90++, this never wins. This cannot beat it. And that is why you see so many people pursuing this. It's that idea of like perfect efficiency. It's stupid, but like sometimes I can pull it off. Like for instance, right now on JP, I'm actually 6 slotting the 90++. But it's not something that you always should try to do. I think it's like if it's available to your account, if you have the right units, the right loadout, go for it. But it's not something that you need to roll for, and it's not something that you need to do all the time. But that is the issue, is like there is an elephant in the room, and the elephant is 6 slotting a 90++. Oh, that causes some issues. I thought you said bong efficient there for a second. I did, because that's how someone typed it. You take a hit somewhere. Yeah, 100%. And that's the point I'm trying to make to people. I think a lot of people are assuming like there is no hit. I think it's more that the hit that they're taking is acceptable to them. And that's fine. Like, but there is a hit. They'll try to get you in some way. Right? So it's like, okay, well, I don't have to 3-turn. Okay, but the whale 3 turns. like that's the argument that you end up having to make. So you go like, oh, I don't have to do this. So you as the free-to-play player, or as the like less equipped player, I'll just say, is now having to like 4 to 6 turn it, right? And the whale is doing it in 3 turns. So the whale just like, they have time efficiency now. Time efficiency is not a huge issue, but like they just get to go do something else faster. You have to spend the extra turns and the extra effort. Community helps a lot for comp ideas. Yeah. I mean, again, that's like Avalon's doing a great job, I think, of like he's taken over the lotto guides from some of the rest of us, and he's done a great job with the comp building for it. It's really taken a load off of me. Players go so efficient that they complete the event super fast and spend the rest of the 12 days for the event complaining that there's nothing else to do. I mean, that's kind of me right now on NA with Valentine's Day, but I'm not going to complain about that. I'm just going to enjoy it. But I do think there are people that do that, but it's usually people that do that are people that like pop apples to get the event done faster. And I'm like, okay, I don't know why you did that. Especially like I've seen it before in some events where there is a time gate and people will pop apples still. And I'm like, but why? At least wait till the time gates are up. Achio's so dead right now. I just appled through the event ASAP. Yeah, dude, the amount of times I've seen that is just like unironically is wild. Yeah, I do like that too, JC. I like that they balance like plus with plus plus. I think they really need to make some of these nodes a lot less doable at 6 slot, and the way to do this to really jack up the actual health values, and instead give people like event bonus from a craft essence. and then they have to use the craft essence, and then they can't necessarily like 6 slot. So that's one way of doing it. Mr. Chubbs, thank you for the raid. Welcome everybody. How's it going? How was the JP? Were you doing translation or lore? Because last I saw you were on a Wikipedia page. And welcome everybody, guys. If you haven't checked out Mr. Two Love Trouble, go give that man a follow. He is a good buddy of mine, member of Team Explosion, my stream team. And he also, in general, is our resident JP translator extraordinaire. Translates all the JP live streams for us here on Twitch. He does a fantastic job. He also has a new VTuber model. You guys should go check it out. Cute dad and daughter. Yup. How to do that version of shoutout? That's the slash command that Twitch added. I do it if I'm going to be busy with IRL stuff. Yeah, I don't blame anybody that like pops apples or like creates blue apples when they're like super busy, right? I don't understand the people that just go like, hey, I'm bored, pop apples, get everything done, and then complain that they are still bored. Because it's like, you made yourself more bored, I guess. I don't know. March is usually dead during March. CBC is super resident sleeper. See, it's funny you say that because I know people that like love CBC and think it's the best event of the year. Usually the female fans that like to them it's their version of Valentine's, right? Which is fine. I don't really have any issue with it. But I think it's like, yeah, I think to the majority of the community, March is normally like a kind of okay, rest and recuperate type of thing. But I think at that point it is what it is. Like everybody's got different tastes. Hello, Shadowblade. Thank you for the alert. What are we doing today? I'm actually doing the Lancer interludes on JP at the moment. This is Lee Shuins, I believe. And we are just kind of going through. It's a pretty chill day, so we're just kind of talking. I do plan to have a fireside chat with chat here in a second, though. You think the servants from the final chapter will be strong? Yes. Yes, they will. I can't wait for everybody that likes Takasugi to mention him every day. I think like the majority of the community probably doesn't care too much about Takasugi, but when they get into the event, they'll probably like him a lot more. And they'll probably be like, oh, he's actually better than I thought. Because a lot of people, I think, have a tendency to look and decide whether or not they wish to roll for a unit based purely off of optics. Okay, like the aesthetics of the unit. Like people going like, oh my god, Morgan Le Fay is so hot, right? And then people going like, oh, okay, Morgan Le Fay, good gameplay. Yes, I'm rolling. And so like that'll be the thing that actually dictates their desire to roll initially. But then they'll get into the event, they'll see the personality of the character, they'll hear the story, and they'll really like I've watched it so many times, like change people's minds and get people to roll. And it always makes me chuckle. See if that actually just straight up kills. Yes. Also, lore goes hard in CBC. At least this year it does. I'm going in for him. Don't really care about Draco or Tiamat. See, it is what it is. But hold on. Why are you going in for him? Is it because you find him hot? Just saying. Like, so at the end of the day, I think that's usually what determines whether or not people initially desire to roll for a unit. Most people can't read JP stories, so they go not interested until it comes to NA. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think a lot of the NA crowd goes like, let's wait and see, right? Why I rolled in P5 Cuckoo. I originally only wanted in P1 because I loved her design, but then I read the story. No, like I knew. I knew. To be fair, like I hadn't done I'd gone through the story, but I hadn't read any of it on JP. But I know, like, I've talked to Trubs. I also knew a little bit about her personality and stuff, and I really, really liked her. And I was like, man, I want to like get more of this unit when she comes to an A. I feel like the event helps enhance your want of a character. Yeah, I mean, like I've talked to you guys before how like everybody goes like, oh, okay, I'm free to play. I'm gonna save for the unit that I want, and they're like, I'm not gonna roll this unit that's coming out right now. Trust me, I don't want them. They get into the event, they read the story, they go like, damn, that unit is actually way more attractive or interesting than I thought they were. Damn, I'm wondering if I should roll. Oh shit, I rolled. Oh shit, I rolled so much that now I don't have enough for the character that I actually did want. And they just keep doing this over and over and over and over and over again. And if one of you in chat feels called out right now, it's okay. You're one of a million. Because I see this time and time again from people. Almost like that's the point. You're right. It is. It's almost like they make the character and the story like attractive so that they know that they can get you on that. Wait, what is it? This is the event that I'm doing right now. Okay. Sorry, I had to think about it real fast. I had to be like, wait, am I doing the right thing here? Takasugi's coming out at like the worst possible time. Yep. Like generally I'm good and I know like who I want to roll on, because if I have questions, thankfully for me at least, both as a content creator and in general just as a friend, I can talk to Mr. Trubs here who can fill me in on anything that I have missed out on. So not everybody has a Trubs, so I recommend everybody befriend Trubs so that they can get that information out of it. But in general, like, yeah, it's good to at least have somebody that I can talk to about it so that like I can get clued in on whether or not this is a character that I would have interest in. Medusa Saber is coming in a few months. Oh, why would you mention Medusa Saber? Because like everybody had forgotten about her. So now that you've brought her up, now everyone's going to be like, oh shit, yeah, I need to roll Medusa Saber too. But then what do I do about Tiamat? What do I do about Draco? What do I do about Castoria Berserker? What do I do about Ace? What do I do? And like it just keeps going. And everyone goes like, oh my god. Hey, thanks for giving him a follow. Yeah. Yeah, Trubs normally doesn't stream this late, but he does at least stream like usually in like the afternoons. So if you guys need somebody to watch during the day, he's usually there. For me, the strongest wills must make the hardest sacrifices. It's true. But this is also why, like, it's funny because every time we get a JP event, right, someone goes like, Cat, are you going to roll the unit? Cat, are you going to roll the unit? Cat, are you going to roll the unit? And I'm like, nope. I'm waiting. Nope. It's not a thing. Not going to do it. Nope. Because I know what I want to roll on JP. And if it's not one of those things, I'm not going to do it. And that is a little bit the problem JP has. I think at this point, they go like, crap, how do we get people to roll? And they're trying. I'll give them credit. They are absolutely trying. Medusa Saber is going to be rough for me to try and skip. Yeah, but have you seen her first ascension? It's so nice. It looks so good. But others convince me? Yeah. That is the issue. Ted, are you gonna roll the unit? See, and it's really funny because I thought like at first with Komachi that I might. I looked at her and I was like, do I want to? Because I don't hate her design, and I don't really have a quick caster on JP. But I basically said like she's a good unit, but I have a more powerful setup already than her. And so at that point, I don't know that I can really justify it gameplay wise. Plus, all the other banners that are on Raid Up makes it really freaking hard for me to pull that trigger. So it is what it is. You mean Ono? Yeah, Komachi. Komachi of the Ono. Didn't roll Alice SMH. Listen, I didn't roll Alice because I rolled Aoko instead. Man can use all this bait this year and go fishing and get a good haul. Pretty much. I don't like the kit. It's a huge turnoff for me. Oh, if you don't like the kit. I got you. I thought you were saying you didn't like Komachi's. So I was like, I don't know. I think Komachi's is a pretty good kit. But, like, yeah, I got you. Not rolling both Mihoyo girls SMH. To be fair, chat, I have not read Mihoyo, so now you guys can scream at me for that. Yeah, I'm a little bit more worried about the JP event. We're still like only a couple days into it, but I'm doing okay. I think it's up to 3 million on this one as well. Yep, 3 million on that. But it's the shop where it's like I haven't rolled here, so like this is going to be taking me probably a lot longer to get done. After Texas Red, big iron, big iron. Wait, they put gyms in the shop again? They kind of have lately because I think they've been realizing that there is a demand for it. So it's just like it's here, but you really don't have to like get it. Same thing as the statues. Like usually when people talk about clearing a shop, they mean like clearing it except for that. So it's like the essential materials on up or what they talk about, with the exception being, you know, like this crap, right? But I mean, even Evocation Festival leaves, I normally pick them up. And behold, chat, I have I have 48,000 of these suckers. Thing is, I could actually go into the shop and spend all of that right now. Like, it is what it is. Big iron. Oh, that actually was enough to buy all of that sweet. Oh, it's good for the statues because I need them. Yeah, I mean that's fine. Like, it's just normally I only go after them in events that I actually rolled the unit. That way I have the craft essences so that I'm more efficient in the event, and then I go grab it that way. Wait. Shimata. Give me 1 second, chat. Okay. So chat. let's have a talk. Currently, I have talked with my editor about what to do about the YouTube channel because we're having some like issues, right? And I don't mean like things are in dire straits and like I can't do anything or anything like that. I mean, viewership on the channel has, at least for like most of the videos, been down. So it's not been going well. Now, I talked with you guys about that before. I think viewership is down for a couple of reasons. I think the game... Sorry, just so it makes it clear as to what I'm talking about. I think the game has definitely had its issues. I think, like, while, you know, we love FGO and everything like that, I do think the community is slowly shrinking for FGO because it's an aging game. There's a lot of competitors, and basically, I think, you know, people over time just move on. And I don't think that the game, at least as of right now, is doing a great job of bringing in new blood. It's one of the reasons why I want them to do like really good with Strange Fake and stuff like that, because I think it actually will drive the Fate, and it'll drive interest in Fate and by connection FGO. So I think it will bring new people in. The viewership is kind of down because of that. It's down as well because of, I think, mistakes that I've made. Like, I don't want to say like, oh, it's just the game's fault. CAD had nothing to do with it. No, CAD had a lot to do with it. One of which I think was me doing live streams on the main channel. I think that did not help. I think that is one of my biggest regrets at this point. It's not that I didn't want to like stream on YouTube. I never should have set it up on my main channel. It was such a stupid move for me to do because it affected the algorithm. And I hate that it did, because I had videos that were getting, you know, 20,000 views on the regular and upward. And essentially now most of my videos struggle to even get 1,000 views. It's rough. And I hate that. It shouldn't be that way. But it is what it is. I think the algorithm just kind of got absolutely just trashed because of it, and it just does not really help. Is it just global or both? What do you mean? For my YouTube? Whenever they want to release more episodes, yeah. New players are down, and I think so, and that's definitely going to hurt guide content like mine. So, and I'm glad you kind of brought that up a little bit, Kimbo, because that is a more clear way of saying it. But like, new players are down. I am a predominantly guide-based YouTuber, and so at that point, there's not as much interest in watching my content, right? I think also I can do a better job with the content. I think I can try to get a little bit more out of it. The issue that I have, and you know, I've talked about this, I think, several times over the years, but whether or not there's like newer people on the channel at any given moment, and whether or not people actually know this about me, I work full time. I'm an accountant in real life, aka CPA, and I'm in the middle of tax season right now, especially, which means that I have actually an hour less every single day to do anything that I want to do. That's why sometimes my stream starts late right now, and it just kind of is what it is. So that makes it very limited for me to have any time to like edit myself and to like go all out and to do a bunch of stuff. So I, on the flip side, have turned things over to my editor. And, you know, I was probably going to keep this quiet, but I think it's probably a good thing to say this out loud, at least just for transparency and to let people know. But I am letting my editor kind of take over the channel. He's going to operate it mostly for me. So that way I have more time to do the things that I need to do and can kind of focus a little bit more on the actual content side of things and less on the like, hey, I have all of this like tchotchke like day after day stuff that I have to do for YouTube. In a weird way, YouTube is more time consuming than Twitch is, and it's wild to me that that's the case, but it just kind of has been that way. Not in the sense of like I guess if you look at, hey, I'm doing a live stream on Twitch, that would be more time consuming than the amount of time I usually spend on YouTube. But it is like the amount of like prep work I have to do for Twitch is usually a lot less than the amount of prep work I have to do for YouTube. So it's really weird because I think that's just a difference of the types of content. Live content, I don't have to do a whole lot of prep for. I just usually think of what I want to do that day and like make the stream title that and then just go live and do it. Okay. YouTube content, I have to think of an idea, I have to record it. I have to basically then do all of the prep work to upload it and get it set up and then push it live. So everything is in the prep side of YouTube and everything is in the live side of Twitch. So it's kind of a difference of things, but my time kind of has to be taken up by the live time. And so when we look at things like YouTube, it's easier for me to push that off onto an editor and let the editor handle it for me. So I'm basically trying to do that. And as a result, Okayist, I was going to say Okayist is my editor at the moment. And I basically have told Okayist that I'm going to be like splitting the revenue from the channel with them. So that's what we're going to be trying to do. And I'm just going to be cutting him in on it and letting him kind of like run things. And we're going to be trying to push content on a more daily capacity. I think as of right now, we're going to probably not do too much on the weekends. And we're going to focus more on like covering most of the weekdays. I can't promise you a video every day. Something may happen with me, like for instance, the power outage I just had. Something may happen with Okayist. There may just not be content to actually like make for that day because for better or worse, this is a 10-year-old game and there is not a lot of content that you can make for a 10-year-old game. Most of these are ideas that we're coming up with and stuff like that. But that is the goal, is to try and kickstart the channel again, try to get you guys more daily content. So on one hand, the reason I wanted to have this discussion is I appreciate the support you guys have given me all the years. I need it again. One way or another. I basically need everybody to kind of help me out. And that can come in many forms. That can come in just watching the video, liking it, commenting on it, sending it to your friends, getting it more views in any way you guys can think of. It can also come in the form of like, hey, for those of you guys that are out there, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. If you haven't subscribed to the VODs channel for Twitch here, make sure you guys do so. I have a second channel now called @CADPlays, and that is our VODs channel that we're using for the live stream so that it doesn't affect the algorithm anymore. But we have to, I think, get to 1,000 subscribers on that channel, which I haven't yet, in order to be able to like just monetize that just for like ad revenue and stuff. So I'm hoping to at least do something like that, because right now, since we've made this change, since I'm no longer live streaming on the main channel, I get no ad revenue from these streams on YouTube. It's kind of nasty in that regard. But so in that regard, anything you guys can do on either of those ends definitely helps me out. But the other reason as well is because I wanted to talk to you guys, because my content probably needs to change. And that can come in a couple of forms. I think I still want to like keep making guide content. You guys saw just the other day we put out the class score guide. Well, sorry, I didn't put it out. I recorded it. It's probably going to be put out like tomorrow if I can help it, but we'll see. But I wanted to talk to you guys to see like what you guys thought about certain content ideas, and if you guys had any ideas of your own. Because as I mentioned, it's a 10-year-old game. We've pretty much covered every feasible like guide that I can think of to come up with. Maybe there's some of you guys can think of that I haven't really covered, but we're kind of at that point of like, hey, I'm kind of out of content. We were doing obviously unit analyses. I can keep doing those, but those are performing really terribly on the channel right now. I don't know if that's because other people are doing it better than me. I don't know if that's because I'm just too late getting it out. I don't know if it's a case of like the algorithm has just screwed me over in that regard because of the live streams. Can't really begin to tell you. All I know is the current model of just releasing like unit analysis videos is not working. The other thing is too, we've actually gone 2 years on unit analysis. And if you guys know what that means we have come full circle, and that any unit that is coming out now on NA has already been covered 2 years ago with the unit analysis. So we're now at the point of like, I basically am getting a little bit cut off on that, where I only have like new units on JP that I can cover in that regard. So that's definitely not as good in that sense. So I'm not going to have as much content to make there. There are other units I haven't made guides for. One of them was brought up to my attention the other day, and it's one that I think I probably should make. I have not made a Tamamo guide. I'm really surprised that I haven't, because I have made a guide for just about every other meta support. So that's definitely an interesting thing. So that's one I probably got to get to. And I think there will still be others that I can definitely do over time. But I usually like to do the unit analysis videos when it's actually relevant to do so. And again, I don't think necessarily every unit needs a unit analysis, because that would be like 400 videos, and that's just insane. That being said, let me actually go check here real fast. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I already have 160 videos out in unit analysis. So, like, of the like 400 unit roster, chat, I have already covered 160 of these. That's freaking nuts, by the way, because that's basically 80 videos a year just on that. You have any plans on uploading reacts? So that's another interesting one. Like, so let's take that idea for a second here, because this is something that I wanted to go through with you guys. Is like, I can't just do guide content anymore. So what would you guys like me to make content from? So Biens is mentioning react. What would you guys like to see me react to? Because I think like this is something I've talked with Okayist about some of these ideas as well. And I want to hear from you guys what you think would be a good like content idea. Because I have my own ideas, but I'd prefer to hear from you, and I don't want to like taint whatever you guys are going to say. Anything but politics. Yeah, I don't want to do politics. Reacts to the new unit? I think reactions to the new unit is basically my unit analysis. You guys just don't get to see my reaction to it, because allow me to explain. When a new unit comes out, that new unit comes out at 4 a.m. Eastern time. I do not wake up until like 6:30 Eastern. So already everybody else has a like 2.5 hour jump on me, and that's me getting up to get ready to go into work, because unlike some other people, I actually do have a full-time job. So I have to basically abide by that full-time job. That's what keeps the lights on and pays the bills. So keep stream running, frankly. So at the end of the day, that's what I have to do to focus on that. But I need basically some way of doing stuff faster for that sort of thing to be relevant. Otherwise, my reaction is going to be like after everybody reacts, and then I'm not sure anybody in the community cares. But maybe I'm wrong. You can make a channel on Discord and then let mods vet it. React to game trailers. Yeah, I mean, I definitely do that all the time, and that is something. I think at that point, so I don't want to call them out, right? But this is definitely a thing where not all of my mods are super active. Most of my mods are real people too. They have their own like lives and jobs and concerns, and I don't pay them, so I don't expect them to like go out of their way to like help me on certain things. And even when I have asked them for help, usually I'll get help for a little while, but then it just kind of stops. So like, I understand. I don't want to like blame them, but it's also at the same time of like, it's difficult on me to like rely on the mods because I end up in like any sort of thing that's like a mod duty. I usually end up having to do it myself. Yeah, is Draco worth rolling for just a collector's copy in P1? Yeah, I don't see an issue with that. You could react to Asmongold videos so he reacts back, and then you react back to an infinite loop. You have to be both big enough and have a unique enough take that Asmongold will react to you. But like, it could be a thing, right? How about some tier lists? So historically, I do not like tier lists. This makes me a bad content creator because tier lists are content creators' bread and butter. I fucking hate tier lists because tier lists give such a like stupid like take on things usually. It's extremely reductive. People don't get the right ideas from them, and everybody skips to the end of the tier list and nobody watches your reasoning. Tier lists are pain. I actively avoid them. Yeah. So don't get me wrong. Maybe I should do some more tier lists because, like I said, it's what makes me a bad content creator, and I know it. If I did tier lists, it'd probably be good. But how about this, chat? Give me some ideas for tier lists, right? And that may be what we can do is maybe we can actually like. I know we're technically using the content suggestion channel on the Discord for this, but like. So like again, if you guys have seen, right? Like here is the constant suggestion box, and you guys can see we basically just are using this for like media share nights. So maybe what I need to do is I maybe need to get an actual like media share channel, and then get like, you know, let's start using the actual content suggestion box maybe for what it's supposed to be. Whatever makes you happy or excited, Marvel Rivals. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely like digging Marvel Rivals right now, and I'll probably be playing Monster Hunter Wilds, you know, like next week. Like literally Friday we have the new mid-season patch for Rivals, and next Friday is Wilds. So like you guys could expect some more variety content from me out of the meantime. I also like I'm still going to keep doing some of the videos that I do, so you guys can expect unit analysis. You guys can expect event previews. You guys can expect you know, typical like long form guide content. But yeah, we've started to do like CQ videos. It's just I'm not like some min turner in most of these cases, and so like you guys are just getting to watch me do the CQ however the fuck I feel like I want to do it. So I'm not going to say it's going to be the most entertaining stuff, but I still feel like maybe there is something I can do in that regard. Boob list. I actually have a video called Fate Boob Order. It's not a boob tier list, but it is me going through every chest in the game where it's zoomed in on only the chest and me trying to guess who it is. And there were a couple where the mods tried to trick me, and I still got it right. I think I only got like 2 or 3 of them wrong. Like the feed order one? Yeah, I did the boob order one so that I could beat the allegations that people were calling me like a foot guy. And I'm like, I'm not into feet at all. I obviously am really familiar with the FGO designs. But to be fair, I got less wrong on the boob tier list than I did on the feet tier list. So that should tell you guys exactly what I'm into. Saber-faced event CQ run. I mean, I could do that more, but like, it's weird because outside of doing the Saber-face only runs for story, and chat, we are gonna probably take some of the videos from LB7 and upload those, like the Saber-face only run, because that's easy content idea, but yeah, like normally like normal CQs on NA, I usually do them just normally, like with whatever I feel like, because that I'm not obligated to use Saberface only. If this account became an entire Saberface only account, which it is for the most part, but if it became entirely that way, oh boy. Yeah, I don't know why I would roll for anything else then. Cat needs to do Fate Butt Order. See, that would be a good idea, except this game is 2D and we never get to see the unit's asses. React to servant real life documentation. See, I think that would have to be something where, like, it would have to be, like, viewer submitted. Where, like, you guys submit, like, some crazy fact about, like, one of the characters in FGO and I react to it. Because if I have to go searching for it myself, then I'll know it and you won't get an honest reaction out of me. You can always do free-to-play comp videos during events. So, Okayist brought that up, and I told him no. And the reason why I told him no, I don't want to, like glaze anyone here, chat, but here's why I told him no. If you guys ever need this, here's Fandom's site, right? Here's the English event. Here's the Valentine's Day event. Oh, what's that? I don't know. What if we like went over to the free quest? What happens if you scroll all the way down? Does anyone know? There's a reason I don't make this type of guide content. It's because everybody can make this type of guide content. It's extremely low barrier to entry content, and there is so much, like, what's the word I'm looking for? So much, like, competition just for that. So I basically go like, nah, it is what it is. Lore videos are not my cup of tea, actually. Because, like, one, I'm not a lore expert. I don't ever hold myself out to be. And two, I do know of a couple of people that do them at least pretty well, so. Cad gets enough flack about being a wiki reader as it is. Yeah, which is still pretty wild because, and I've said this before, chat, like, oh man, all he does is read off the wiki. Yeah, I go to the wiki so that I don't have to sit here and make like 20 gajillion like infographs for something that somebody has already like put into place. I'm super grateful. I probably don't say this enough, but I'm super grateful for Fandom for having a good product. I give Fandom a lot of shit because they need to upgrade and like update and do things faster. I know it's a bunch of volunteers, but I also think it's another one of FGO's cloistered communities that they don't really let a lot of people help with. And I think they should really try to promote being active and helping the wiki out. Okay? But I am super grateful to them for having a good product that is crisp, clean, and easy to understand visually so that you guys have something presentation-wise and so that I don't have to make every single one of these as some sort of slide for a presentation. Okay? So am I going to use a tool that is readily available to me and free? Hell yes, I am. However, you guys know we don't just read off the wiki. We start with the wiki and we go elsewhere. So this is something that I brought up before. It's like maybe I need to actually include some sort of like servant, what's the word I'm looking for? Some sort of servant display, right? Like where it's like, okay, hey, I've got I have this. So it's like I can record the video, but for instance, like Okayist doesn't, I don't think Okayist plays JP. I play JP, but I don't have the time to sit down and record a bunch of footage of a unit, nor do I necessarily have rolled a unit. So maybe what we can do in the effort of sprucing up the videos is I can maybe either get one of the mods to help with that, or heck, chat, maybe you guys can submit footage yourselves if you want. It can't be you went to YouTube and got someone else's video, though. Please don't do that. I don't want to get, like, in trouble for anything like that. Okay? But yeah, like, usually I don't have the time to record that side of things myself. So if one of you guys wants to, and we can set up a channel for something like that, I would definitely appreciate it. It would help us spruce up our videos. So I think that's something that can be done as well. Okay. Sorry, I was just writing down ideas. I think that's a good idea, Red. I actually already wrote that down. Give every servant one theoretical buff and then rank them. Give every servant one theoretical buff. What, like rank the buff or rank the servant after the buff? You do some free quest item farm nodes to saber face only. It's actually really easy. I think that's low hanging fruit and probably not someone anyone would care to watch. How do you feel about support list reviews, Cad? I think support list reviews are terrible and I don't want to do them ever. Now hear me out. Hear me out. I'm so glad you brought that up. Okay. Chat. I do think the simplest change would be to simply state up front what the video will be like in 3 segments. Yeah, it's probably a good idea, Dark. I probably should start to do that because I do think, like, again, you get people that, like, they click into the video, they see the wiki, and they're like, oh, it's another wiki reader, and they just go like, whatever. And I'm like, these people are stupid. So it is what it is. I've learned at that point, like, some people just have no chill. They have no patience. They won't go check later in the video or anything like that. So it is what it is. Okay. I'm so glad that someone brought up support list reviews. Chat, do any of you guys know how support list reviews got brought up in the first place in the FGO community? Does any of you know how this came to be? So I'm not going to name names, but I am going to throw some shade here. You guys know I don't normally do this. But some people looked at me doing account reviews. And they said, Cad's doing that. Cad's successful. I'm going to do it too. But I'm not smart enough or knowledgeable enough to do an actual account review. So I'm going to instead just have people submit pictures of their support list. That is literally how this got started. I'm not even shitting you. Content creators took the lazy, easy way out of this, and it doesn't really help anyone. I think it's stupid. I think it's dumb. I think quite literally all this does is you're sitting there looking at an account's already best units and telling them how to improve their already best units. And that's really it. Yeah, it is a Temu account review. That is all it is. It is just a dumbed down version of account review. Now, I'm not going to, like I said, I that's the shade I'm going to throw. I'm not going to hold it against any content creator for doing it. It's just like a tier list. It's easy content, and this is like a content creator's bread and butter now. I don't want to do it. But I have a better idea, chat. So, all right, hear me out. Hear me out. Because I've had this idea from watching Marvel Rivals. All right? So I've been watching a lot of the big streamers from Marvel Rivals. And there's something that happens in Marvel Rivals where, in order for some of these content creators to make content, what they do is they spectate another player's game, right? So, like for instance, Tim the Tatman, I think today he was watching the number one Star-Lord player, and he watched a couple of his games and he reacted to it. God, that is such low-hanging fruit, and it's so genius. It's so easy to do. I wish FGO had something that easy. I really wish. I can't do that. We don't have spectating. I mean, I guess I could like watch someone do a challenge fight and then nitpick them, but I feel like that would make me an asshole. So I don't want to do that necessarily either. But hear me out, chat. I don't want to bring back account review. Account review, because the way I did them hurt my voice, literally got ripped off by everybody in the community, and in some ways made people angry. It's still probably going to make people angry. But what if we do an account review channel and I start making content one video at a time out of this? So we do one account at a time. Here's the problem with this. The issue is this would change the focus from doing it to help people and more doing it for content. This is kind of the issue that I have with this idea. Like, I think if I do it this way, that the accounts that get chosen to get reviewed are going to be probably the meme accounts in some way, shape, or form. Something that I could really do it with. Now, I think the way to do this would be that I would have an account review channel, and I would require a couple things. One, how long have you been playing? Two, what would you like to know? Three, are you okay with it being live streamed / recorded for YouTube? And 4, are you okay with me roasting you? And I think like we'd have to go in with these express things being understood. Can we request light roast? Yeah, I think so. I think we can set a level to the roast. No roast, heavy roast, light roast. Here's the thing. I'm probably going to pick the most interesting ones first. Right? Like somebody that's been playing a long time. Hear me out, chat. If you've been playing a long time, I want to review your account, because I can absolutely flame you for some of the stuff that you still haven't done. But, like I said, I don't know. I think there is a way to make good content out of this. I've been juggling this idea around in my head for a while, and I didn't want to pull the trigger without talking to Chad about it first. But this is something that, like, I think this has potential, at least for long-term content that, quote-unquote, I can milk. And I don't mean milk as in like, yes, Chad, I've got you. No, I mean like milk in the sense of like, this is something that's repetitive that I can keep doing, and it will last me a long time. Right? Maybe one a month. I don't know. I think like in the idea of having, I want to say like, in the idea of trying to like achieve daily content, I think this could be a decent fill. So it maybe might be like something like once a week or something like that. I do one account. And then it doesn't take like a super long time. I can create a decent sized video out of it and we can kind of talk about it. But that also means that accounts that people submit in there might not get chosen for a while, or might not like, I don't know, right? Like it may take me a while to actually review your account. So I think you'd have to go in with the express understanding it's going to be used on stream. I'm going to need some info out of you. I'm going to know what you want to know about, and I'm going to try to answer those questions, but maybe roast you in the process. Like, what I'm trying to say here is, yes, well, I might roast some of you. I think I will do so in as respectful a way as possible, but also as, like, informative of a way as possible, if that makes any sense. And then, frankly, chat, you guys can rip me. Maybe I can review my own account one day. So, now that I don't already do that to some extent. And the poster child of it is idiocy. Oh, don't say that. It'd be quite entertaining ripping my stupidity to shreds. Yeah, and I think it's like, to some degree, it would be like a flex for some people. For others, it would be, hey, this is actually answering the questions. For others, it would be like, hey, I got to be seen on stream. You name it, right? I already know what you'd say. You obviously stopped playing for quite a while. Yeah, you guys know I'm pretty good at being able to pick apart people's accounts. And in case anyone's wondering, yes, I haven't done account reviews in a long time. No, that will not affect me. Because the entire reason for why I can do account reviews is because I have such a good knowledge of the actual like unit base. And frankly speaking, even behind the scenes, my friends ask me questions about their accounts all the time. So it's something where it's like I've never really fallen out of practice. It's just been one of those things. In a laughing with you manner feels nice to people. Yeah. So it is what it is. I think it's like I will allow people to set their roast level, and y'all can choose at that point. Grailed servant ratings. See, I've seen people do that before. I don't think that's that good of content, because grailed servant ratings are just subjective, right? Like, oh my god, you grailed Koyanskaya, but maybe like I don't like Koyanskaya and therefore I think this is a shit grail. Or like, oh man, you grailed like Artoria and I love Artoria and therefore this is the best grail I've ever seen. Like, I mean, I guess it's entertaining, but it's also just like it's memey at that point where you know. Hear me out. What if you branch into other gotchas? No, I refuse. And I've talked to Okeus about this. I've talked to several of my friends about this. The reason, chat. Chat. Here. The reason I do not want to play other gacha games is because that would turn me into yet another one of these gacha game content creators that just bounces from game to game, creating and causing drama, and their only content is rolls. I don't want to do that. That just sounds fucking miserable. It's extremely expensive and time-consuming, and I think I would just be an unpleasant and unhappy person. I would not be able to enjoy video gaming anymore. I would be spending shit tons of money trying to roll and wail to assert dominance, and I would probably just hate my life. I don't think it's worth it, and I never want to ever become that. I wonder who you're talking about. I'm not talking about anyone in particular, because there are several people that I could think of that this could apply to. But the reality is, again, for me personally, it's not who I am. So I just don't want to ever become that. That's actually a good idea, Ocast. I like that idea. Like, we got to find better ways of like promoting this stuff. Sorry, Chad, just a second. Okay, sorry. But gotcha monetization, design, dissection, content point where you point out traps devs makes and how they get to you. I do this all the time on stream. I mean, like, Okayist can probably turn some of these into actual clips and videos, so we probably got to be better about, like, so chat, dead serious, right now, okay? Huddle up, again. If you would like me, or anything I say on stream, to get turned into an actual, like, video for YouTube, literally clip it. Just clip it. Or, like, say something to one of the mods. Get them to clip it. Because it's going to make Okayist's life easier. It's going to make my life easier. It's going to make all of us more money. So just do it. like straight up. I really mean it. I will appreciate it. And I got to give a shout out because... Where was it? We have a CAD clip section of the Discord. Shadow, Torak, Zulong. I think it's AP, is it? I can't tell. I can't see their name because I'm in streamer mode. But either way, those of you guys that have been doing clips for me and posting it in that channel, thank you. Okay? Because those are easy video potentials. Is Cat Out of Context coming back? Only if you guys clip it. Because I'm not going to expect... Okayist has already got his hands full with everything he's doing. And I'm going to say, if anything, they're going to become more full. So, if anything, like I said, if you guys want something to be turned into a video, something to be turned into a short or something like that, clip it. It helps us out immensely. I really do mean it. Was the single target archer rant originally clipped or planned to be used on YouTube? So funny you mentioned that. But again, chat, how many of you guys have watched this video? 30% charge helps him out too. Oh my god, I look so pale here. What the shit? Today too, that he can now do black grail looping. So that's pretty nutty. Now, chat. Now, can we actually talk about this? It's finally time. I can conclusively say this. This needs a buff now. It does. Also, fun fact, this is one of only the few artworks I've ever gotten in trouble for using. The artist actually got angry at me for it. that is the only artist that has ever gotten angry at me for using their artwork. It is what it is. I had to take it down because of it, but it's funny that it ended up in this video. But yeah, I literally recorded this and made this a video over a year ago, and you guys know I've been talking about it for like 4 years, so it's not even that big of a thing. I know you don't like roll videos, but what about roll highlight videos every year? I'll leave that one up to Okayist. If Okayist wants to turn like roll videos back into a thing, he can. Again, whatever content helps the channel grow, I don't care. That's the entire goal of this at this point. And the whole reason why I've been saying this is because the channel is not performing well at the moment, and frankly, it needs to become worth something for all the effort that's getting put into it. I love making YouTube content, but there's kind of no point if it like doesn't go anywhere or do anything. So at that point, it's just a whole lot of work for very little like reward and payoff. Have you seen Gacha Genderbend rip off of every anime? What do you mean? Catch you later, King. Roll videos are pretty safe for gacha. See, you say that, but my roll videos historically were my worst performing videos. I'm not even kidding. Like, actually my worst. That being said, somebody should probably go back in and get my my 2 roll segments that were, what was it, chat? Like, was it 3,500 quartz on NA and like 2,500 on JP or something? Yeah, the triple pity. That needs to be a video. Holy shit, that needs to be a video. That was just oof. It's probably because you don't overreact when you roll, but I don't feel like that to you. So it's really funny because you're right? Like, and I don't normally ham it up because, as I've explained it to you guys before, I've been here before, and I feel like I actually act like it, unlike other people. I don't think necessarily act like it. You'll see other people that I feel like really have exorbitant reactions to things, but they have rolled a shit ton, and they act like it's the first time that they've ever been fucked by the gacha. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's like I don't act ever. You guys just get my actual emotions, and it's just actually me. I understand it's not as entertaining as a result of me doing that, but it is what it is. So, do you post it as a full session or highlight some parts of the session? I have done full. I have done highlights. And I have done both like heavily edited and meme. We have tried 4 different types of roll videos. None of them ever performed well. Ever. And the reason that I assume is because, again, it's exactly that. I don't usually have over-the-top reactions. That being said, whenever I do have an over-the-top reaction, chat, what does that mean? What does that mean? That means that was actually something really, like, outstanding or crazy. Because I don't normally do that. So it makes the moments where that happen actually, like, bigger and better. Because I don't go crazy over like every little thing that happens in the gacha. Okay, Kat, I remember the Morgan Get moment. That's what I think about a lot, see? Saberface. But Tinder profile reviews? Listen, I'm already having a hard enough time with that as is. I am talking to someone right now, though. No, listen. I'm bad. I am so. The worst part of me comes out when I am scrolling through dating profiles. Like, y'all think I'm bad when I play Marvel Rivals. The worst part of me comes out when I am viewing dating profiles because I am extremely picky at that point. And it's not even that. It's like I start looking at like some of the pictures these people post and I'm like, what possessed you to post that as a picture? So like I said, I start getting like super judgmental and I'm not normally that judgmental. It's only because it's a dating profile and I start like, one, I'm selective, and two, I'm like, I can't believe people would actually do this. I remember CAD last year's resolution is getting a girlfriend. Yeah, and my resolve is still there, but I'm becoming jaded on some of the options at this point. Speaking of which, Jade, thank you for the resub, appreciate it. And Sora, thank you for it as well. Sorry, I don't know why I didn't react to that half an hour ago, but appreciate it. Chat, can we get some love for our 2 subs? Becoming us, yes. Want to be me and at my age? No. But I'll be there eventually, so. Why did the sub notification not show up on top? I don't know. Don't ask questions, because if something's broken, then I have to fix it. Elden Ring? I mean, I've done ironically enough, I've done Saberface playthroughs of Elden Ring where I pick a Saberface and I do a gimmick run based off of that. So for instance, I beat the entirety of the base game, bow only, and then went to the DLC and got curb stomped by the DLC. So that was the thing. You cannot do bow only in the DLC without extreme pain and suffering. And while I feel like I probably could have done it, it was not worth the sheer number of attempts and hours it would have taken. See, it's a good idea. No. I don't think it's a good idea because I think it'll paint me in a bad light for like the Tinder profile thing. Like, I don't want to do that, right? Because I don't want to sit there and be like, oh, Cad's just actually an asshole. Listen, how many people can brag they did base Elden Ring with bows? Not a lot, but it is a thing. It's an epic version of the Transformers theme. Okay. So chat, any other content ideas? Anything else you guys would like to see or think would be a cool idea? And like, to a degree, I think it's okay even if it's an idea that someone else is doing, but if it is, I probably need to put my own unique spin on it because I don't want to do the same things as other people. Clearly, it's because you weren't wearing a pot on your head and half naked. Oh, no. There were times I was full naked, actually. That's what made it, like, low-key a Squirtoria playthrough. Because of that. I like whenever we talked about part 3 possibilities. I'd have to come up with some other, like, cool ideas for something like that. FGO oddities like obscure mechanics and mechanics people think work but don't. See my daughter's thoughts on venturing out again. Yeah, like women dating right now is pretty bad because so many of them just ghost guys and it's really rough. RP shop, yeah, that's actually one of the things I have to do. I still, so there's the rare prism and mana prism shop guides. and I need to, for the grand system, go over probably the Bond Seas. Though I'm probably going to need Avalon's help for that one because that's going to be a lot of manual labor, unfortunately. Some lore discussion, interpretation of units in different media. Yeah, and I mean, like, people have brought up like lore videos. I don't think I have the time to be able to like sit down and like research it to do it justice. Is my issue there. Like, I can do that with like FGO mechanics and stuff because I know where to go and how to do all of that stuff. But like, when it comes to an actual lore discussion, that would probably require me to hunt down things on wikis, in actual games. And again, like if we're looking at like, say, like you said, like historical stuff, that'd be actual historical sources. And if we're looking at like their interpretations in other media, the actual other medias and where they are. So it'd be kind of rough. I'm not going to say you can't do it. I'm going to say it would be a lot of work. I do think it's a good idea, but I think it's an idea that I probably can't execute very well. I hate CQs because of walls of text that go with them. I don't mind some gimmicks and tricks, but some CQs are like, wow, yeah. Suggestions on usable bonsies. That's pretty much what this would be. Time for Trubs to write you a script. Listen, if Trubs is going to write me a script, Trubs should make that video himself. And that's that. So low key, I'm actually like trying not to take that idea from a couple of my friends. So, because that is an idea I think is more suited to them. What do you think your strong parts are playing FGO? So my strong parts are my saber faces. I honestly, the sheer breadth of knowledge I have in the game. I think a lot of people try to hold themselves up to be experts on this game. I don't, but I know that I know a lot more than some of the people that do. But like, I don't think I'm an expert. I think there's plenty of stuff that I forget on the regular, and I think there's plenty of mistakes that I make on the regular. So. Read some cringe Fate web novel, but that would be mean. I'd have to probably have someone's permission before I did it. Fate only? Yeah, even then, like I said, I think I want to leave the lore idea for other people. Cat eats 100 McNuggets live, no sauces. Okay, now you're just getting into meme ideas. And I don't hate meme ideas, but we need to find a way to make it like FGO relevant. Story discussion with Trubs, if you can line up a possible time. That's like, so me and Trubs have talked about doing like a how do you put it, like a podcast style for a long time. If you guys remember, I have been on a couple of podcasts before. I also had another friend in the past who really wanted to make an FGO podcast, and then he basically up and like quit the game, and like I haven't seen or heard from him ever since because he kind of turned into a douchebag. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's like I think the idea and the potential is there. Just having like more constant discussions. I think my only issue is my time outside of stream is extremely limited, so it logically has to occur at a time like during one of my streams. I'm not going to say that can't be the case. I'm going to say like I'd probably have to wait for a very specific day and time if I wanted to do it with like say Trubs, because I know Trubs' schedule and his schedule is whack as well. So I think that's the issue both of us have, is we're both like highly functioning adults that end up having all of our time taken up by other demands, and it's really rough at times trying to be a content creator. Who specializes in lore? Yeah. No, okay, chat, let me state this. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I think any lore idea is a bad idea right now. Because I keep seeing lore get brought up by like 5 or 10 different people, and I'm not trying to like tell you guys are wrong. It's a good idea. It's a bad idea for me, if that makes any sense. You make foods and eat foods and made in the various Fate series. Oh God, I mean that's a cool idea, but see, this is like one of those things too, where like it would be nice, like that would be a really good idea if I lived closer to other people that were also content creators, and then you could like cook it and have like several people's reactions to it. I don't think you'd do well off of it. Yeah, I agree. Can't eat Kaikion on stream. I don't know if that'd work either. Plus, Kaikion's basically just gruel. It's just porridge. Podcasts are also time consuming. They are. I like that's what I'm saying. It'd have to probably be done live on stream one day. And that means like it would go straight into the VOD already, and then like re-uploading it for another video. Like I could do it on the main channel, but I'm not going to say it would be like as relevant. And to be fair, chat, let me state this. I didn't say this, but when we were talking about the decrease in viewership for the videos, I am well aware that one of the biggest reasons for this, more than anything else, is because I do it live. My viewership was better when I didn't record live. Why? Because you had to go watch the video. You could not get it from my mouth straight on stream. So because I allow you guys to watch on Twitch and YouTube Live, I give you guys your choice of preferred viewing method, and therefore that means inherently my viewership specifically on my YouTube channel is down. Because some of you watch here and some of you watch here. It's basically just everything spread. So I am aware of that interaction. Part of me has considered not streaming to YouTube entirely, but I opted for let's stream to a second channel and let's see how this goes. And we'll see. I may make that adjustment later on. But you know a lot about the past of the game and its mechanics, and there's a lot of mechanics in the game that people either know or don't know or are really obscure. There are, hilariously enough, I have videos on most of those mechanics, and some of those are my best performing videos. If you guys have never watched my Explain series, you should go watch it. It will make you a better player. YouTube has stopped recommending your videos to me, so I have to search for them manually. Yeah, and I'm really just not sure why, other than, again, like... So the interaction chat is... My videos used to get, like 10K plus views, okay? Then I started live streaming. My live streams got about, like, 2,000 views. These are not bad, right? Like, these are great numbers in the grand scheme of things for me. The problem is... YouTube saw this, saw how much I was live streaming relative to me making videos, and it said, this is the new norm. This is an outlier. This is exactly what we think the video's performance will be when you release a video, and therefore we're going to recommend it to less people. So it created a like death spiral of viewership. Where like once it goes down, it stops recommending it, and it just keeps downtrending you. And it's, I fucking hate it. It's one of the things I really hate about algorithms. Dad taught me how CE bombs work. Yep. I usually watch your videos when I'm doing the dishes. Good. I need to watch the skill order video. I really need to. Go watch it. Trust me, you do need to watch it. It's a good video. What about FGO fan art highlight? So I often do this sort of thing. That's a good idea. I could potentially do something like that. I'm not sure that I should. And the reason why, so you guys heard me talk about it with that one video where I said, this is the only art piece that I've ever gotten in trouble for. I could very easily get in trouble for more. Most of the time, this is weird. Artists don't even realize I'm using their art. Why? Because frankly, artists are really self-absorbed a lot of the time. They are always busy doing whatever they want to do. That's fine. I'm not going to take that away from them. But I've learned over the years that asking for permission to use every single art piece is both prohibitive and frankly doesn't get responses. And sometimes you'd even get a negative response from an artist because they simply just don't even realize what it is that you're asking. They'll just tell you no, say you can't do that, whatever, right? So it is what it is. I'm not going to like get angry at that or anything like that, but I continue to use it not because I need it, purely because I wish to promote the artists. That's it. That's the only reason why I use the art on the channel. And it's been a thing on the channel for a long time. So I've just kept it going. It's kind of like a tradition at this point. But if I were to start making videos about it, I have to get their permission. Have to. Absolutely have to. I'm not saying I couldn't, but I am saying I would have to. And that would be a problem. Because, like I said, artists are extremely slow getting back to you sometimes. Sometimes they just outright ignore you. Sometimes they bristle without ever even knowing what it is. So I've learned it's just kind of better to use it and then like attribute them. But like I said, nobody ever really complains purely because I already am attributing them. Plus, I'm not like using it on my own in any way, shape, or form. Other than like, yeah, hey, it's here, it's featured in the stream, but I'm the next day literally on to another art piece, and it just is what it is, right? Ted taught me a lot about the game, so I'm grateful for his videos. Thank you. Appreciate it, Peanut. But yeah, like, I don't think that's a pot I necessarily want to stir. As much as I love artists and love promoting their work and love helping them out. And chat, the other reason that I do this is because I actually do believe that artists keep FGO alive. They keep Fate alive. That without artists, we would not have something to appreciate on a regular basis for this game and this IP. So I think artists are the lifeblood of a lot of these online anime communities. And so I choose to try to promote them to help them. Quite literally, to give back to them and say like, hey, look, did you guys see this awesome art piece? No? Go give the artist a follow. Go give them a like. Go give them a retweet. Do whatever that helps them. You know, subscribe to their Patreon if you really like them. And that's kind of why, right? Like, because I think especially the ones I want to promote are the ones that are still doing FGO artwork. I think they're the ones that are still helping keep this game and its community afloat. But yeah, I as much as I would like to make a video off that, I feel like a lot of artists would just like, he's just taking my artwork and profiting off of it. Whereas like here, I don't profit off of this. I mean, like I profit off of the stream, but nobody is coming to my stream specifically just for the art piece that I use every single day. In the same way, no one's coming to my stream specifically just for the song request. Like, it is what it is. They're features of the stream, but they don't cost anything, nor do I, like, charge you guys. I just do it because I want to do it. What about going over weird things that happened in FGO, like what happened during Luhi's Lotto where they broke master missions? Those work way better well after something like that has happened, and it's very difficult to remember those after the fact. Like, this is to say I could talk about that, but talking about that like a year from now would have way more impact than talking about it now where everyone remembers it, right? Long Janu, yeah. Yeah, so it's like I'm not sure that that's necessarily the best idea either. A lack of an Ivan raid video? No. Like that kind of falls in the same category as lore, is like I'd have to sit down and do a bunch of research. That's like an internet historian video. And I'm not going to say you couldn't do that. I'm just going to say it's a lot of work. Like it's definitely something I don't mind work, but work where it's like it's not like predefined is the issue. So something like that, you have to do research, and research is always open-ended, right? When FGO is gone? No, because I feel like once FGO is gone, no one will care about the events that happened in FGO, really. I mean, like they'd care about the story, but they wouldn't care about like the drama or like the player events that happened. A deep dive where you pick out how to best optimize them. I mean, we kind of know. So this is another thing. A lot of people ask me like, "Hey, can you like talk about this unit in like a multiple like DPS setup, like DPS 1, DPS 2, right? Like type of setup." The only reason that like I don't really talk about this too much is not that it's not a thing, and it does get mentioned in my videos and my unit analyses. It's very difficult to demonstrate a setup like this at like face value. What do I mean? Units are not one size fits all. So it gets kind of rough when you're like, oh, well, do they fit into this? Yes. How? I don't know, because the possibilities for who that second damage dealer is are endless. It entirely depends on the node. So it gets really weird. If there is like a particular synergy between two units, that could be a thing. And I actually sometimes do mention this, but it's difficult for me to like actually say like, oh yeah, this is a thing. And like, here's all of the possibilities, because the possibilities are like, hey, there's like 100 possibilities rather than like, hey, there's like 2 possibilities. And so that's, I think something like, to give you guys another example of this is why when Kuro came out, everyone was asking for, hey, CAD, can you do a video on the Kuro system? And I eventually told everybody no, because there is no Kuro system. I did a Kuro unit analysis where I described her system in as layman's terms as possible, but there is no hard set system that works with Kuro, because every unit has like a different set of demands and a different like party order that you have to adjust to. So it's really kind of rough in that regard. Is Kuro a free-to-play unit? No. What about ranking servant mechanics, like with so many have unique mechanics like Summer Erish's bond mechanic? I mean, I feel like that's also subjective. At least in the sense of like when you're comparing apples to oranges, it's difficult. This is what actually like everybody gets wrong about tier lists, is if you're gonna do a tier list, you need to do a tier list in a like finite compact thing. So like you'll see people and they'll be like, hey, I'm gonna do a tier list of like, I don't know, like let's say like all writers, right? And so it's like you can do this, but the problem is it's very difficult to compare like writer A to writer B to writer C, because like maybe writer A is like a single target, and then maybe writer B is an AoE, and then maybe writer C is a support. So it's like it's really rough trying to be like, hey, let's rank all of these together, because if anything, it's like you should be doing a tier list for like, hey, here are the like single target writers. And that would make a lot more sense. But that would probably take a lot more time. So I kind of understand why people don't do that at the same time. Farming tier list and CQ tier list. Yeah, I mean, I think, and this is why I say like people skip to the end of tier lists and they don't necessarily like watch the explanation, because the explanation for why Unit A is better than Unit B may be extremely convoluted and entirely dependent on like what you value as a player. So like, yeah, okay, I'll bring it up, and I don't want to like chat. I don't want this devolving into like content creator discussion necessarily. Like, for instance, I know Hanako for a while put out tier lists. A tier list that Hanako puts out as a challenge-oriented player is going to be way different than a tier list that, like, I put out, right? Because we just have different priorities that we look for in units and think make them good. And that doesn't mean that Hanako's wrong. It doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It just means that they're completely different viewpoints. And our, frankly, opinions will differ. And that's all of what a tier list is it's that one person's opinion. The issue is people have a tendency to treat tier lists as if they're like gospel for some odd reason. And they try to like look at that and they try to say like, oh, okay, like this is better than this. And like they kind of just turn their brain off and they never think for themselves. I get it when it's like a newer player. I think tier lists have actually a lot of value then because you're not familiar with the units, and having any sort of semblance of a guide can kind of clue you in. But the more veteran of a player you are, the less you should be using a tier list, because you should know better. You should sit there and be like, oh yeah, I know when this unit's good and they're not good in this situation, so I need to be using this other unit that is normally worse but is better in this situation. And there you go. That's how you end up figuring it out. You can also give a false impression because people see Rider A and B tier and think that it's just shit when it's not the case. Yeah, like I said, I think a lot of people have a tendency to really lump some things. I think I probably do need to start making tier lists. I hate to say it. Like, I've avoided it for years. I'm not somebody that's really into them, but I recognize the value that they have for new players, and I at least think that it's easy content for me to make. It's something that I think people would be interested to hear my thoughts in, as somebody that, again, for years has done like unit reviews and account reviews and stuff like that. So it's probably content that I should make, but I don't even really make it. And it's funny because I have made a couple of tier lists, but the tier lists that I have made are usually not actual tier lists. And I still remember one of my videos, I baited everybody by saying, I'm making a tier list. And it was a tier list, but it wasn't a tier list. And so like everyone went into it expecting it to be a tier list, and they got baited with actual good informative content. And I was like, got them. But yeah, it's like at this point, I probably should just start making them. Kat, I like what you did with the Evocation Fest units. Yeah, I was gonna say that was probably the most recent one that I've done. And what did I do with the Evocation Fest units? I don't even remember how I grouped them. But Temu products live, the cheaper the better. No. It'd be like NFF services products live. The BD value for videos for how to get the most out of your 1, 2, and 3-star units. Yeah, to an extent, right? Like, I think there's a lot of low-star units that are still super valuable. What about updated new player guides? I mean, they just linked it in chat. I do need to update it, but that's also an undertaking in and of itself. That entire new player guide, I feel like I've come to regret, mostly because it's not that it's not a good product. It is. It's that it's extremely cumbersome to keep updated, and I'm not sure most people care. Like, I think that new player guide, frankly speaking, I think Reddit doesn't like it, Twitter doesn't like it, and other content creators don't like it. So it's difficult for it to gain any traction because no matter what I try to do with it, people just are going to try to ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist. So it is what it is. Actually, I think that new player guide was the last thing that I posted to Reddit. like I have been on Reddit. I have commented on people's art on Reddit, but I have not made my own post on Reddit since that new player guide. Which is partially because one of the Reddit mods tried to go after me for it, so it is what it is. So chat, if you're ever curious as to why I'm not a big fan of Reddit, I have reasons to be. Speedrun guys to clear up LB7 maybe could be useful with how many events are locked behind LBs and OCs nowadays. No, those actually do exist. And they are the ones that do exist, I think, are pure free to play and are completely optimized. Like, I can't do it better. People didn't like it. I thought it was absolutely great. I think most people that like Reddit thought it was, but I think a lot of people looked at it, said it's way too much reading, and said they didn't want to read it. So it is what it is. What do people have against your guide? Like I said, I think general idea would be that people either disagree with some of the assertions, people think that it's too long, or people just don't like who wrote it. It is what it is, chat. Have you done reviews, showcases for your FGO merch? Like a review of your Arturia figures? Maybe too niche. I do have that. My problem is I don't have a good camera. Like I have my little like C920 that sits up here, but I don't have like an actual like hand camcorder. It'd be recorded with like potato ass phone camera at that point. So that is something I've thought about doing before, but I did probably got to invest in a better camera before I could do something like that. That's definitely not cheap. The unit review updated option. $16 to 90 seconds tops. Well, like, hold on, because if it's 16 to 90 seconds tops, then I am basically just reading what the change was and nothing else. The average player doesn't want to read that much shit. Yeah. Yeah, no, there is something I want to do in the new player guide, and that's probably something I'll cover in a bit here. I have low attention spans. I blame shorts. Yeah, I don't blame them. Sometimes I want to return to my year one self. I was so young, right? If you start a new free-to-play account and not rolling, how long it will take to reach 300 rolls for hard pity? The problem with that is I don't advise a new player to go for pity. Here's why. A new player needs all the units they can get. And so rolling, like, at least for, like, I want to say, like, the first month, to a degree, you should almost just be rolling anytime you get the opportunity to roll. After that, I think it becomes way more of, like, a saving game. But I think there's some room for debate. I'd have to, like, start a new player, a new account for something like that. And frankly speaking, I'm not doing that until they give us an actual like account binding system for NA. I would love to do that. I'm not fucking with emulators again. I'm not losing any account over any of that stuff. Too cumbersome, too annoying. The reason I like the document though is that it's there and it's always searchable. Yep, that is the reason I did the document. I do have a video on it, but the video is more of a like introduction to it and discussion about things you might want to know about it. Fully videos, yeah. Helps flush out your C's, too. Yep. good evil tier list? Well, like, what do you mean? Like doing a tier list on everyone who's good? Or like doing a tier list on like who kills good people the best? Ass and thigh tier list. So the problem, like, you can't do an ass tier list in FGO because you don't ever really get to see any of the people's asses. Like, you get to see like Mash and Ishtar in the Babylonia anime. Like, otherwise you really don't get to see like anybody's. How good or how evil? That's tough. Because do you go by real life circumstances or FGO specific events? They need to fix the lack of ass issue in this game. I agree, actually. I think that's one of the advantages of going like 3D. There is an entire like genre we are not appealing to. Just in game. That could be something. But come on, I like the ideas, chat. Keep spitballing with me. You guys are actually coming up with some good stuff. I've taken a lot of notes here, whether or not you guys realize it. You could go by CE art. Wait, what do you mean? Oh, like what their ass is like based off CE art? Maybe, but still, that would still be difficult. I mean, that's why a few Final Ascensions are ass shots. Yep, it is. It's they know it's 2D, and so they try to afford you multiple viewpoints. CE art tier list. Extremely subjective. Low hanging fruit. Absolutely great idea. Because that's a subjective that is like nobody cares, right? Like people might care to see what I think, but nobody actually cares. Find use for CEs no one uses. The reason people usually don't use CEs are not because they're bad. They usually don't use them because they are lower rarities. Like most of the 5-star Cs at this point, I think have very clear-cut uses, and people just use them pretty regularly. And a lot of people try not to use the lower rarity ones unless it's a party cost issue. Hella biased from Cat? Absolutely. Because all Saberface would be top tier. You're damn right it would be. Ludicrous Summer Final Ascension? Your opinion is trash like everyone's. Yep. And that's the important thing to remember. Like, I think what pisses me off sometimes about tier lists is you, like I said, you see people treat them as gospel. And that means not only do people go like, oh, well, this person said that this is better than this, therefore that is the case. But it's also like they hold it up like to a higher plane because somebody else said it. That I guess like they respect more or they value more. When it's literally that person's opinion, and everybody's opinions are always like going to be wrong about something. Always. Like, nobody here is perfect. Everybody's going to have some sort of trash take, and it just is what it is. Or are those the only ones, White? You can't think of any others? Could I insert the manly arm grab shake gif here? Yeah. Different premium Cs and the good and bad about the CE, because most times I look at premium Cs and I kind of feel like compared to free to play Cs, most feel somewhat trashy. So you're talking about like gacha Cs compared to like event Cs that you get for free. like a welfare CE. And that, like, you don't feel like the gotcha Cs are that good. Because I do think there is some merit to that. I do think quite literally, like, the welfare Cs are almost always good, but there is a reason for that. Is Avalon still here? Avalon, why are welfare Cs good? This is a mod check. I'm just curious if Avalon thinks along the same lines as me on this, because I don't know if I've ever talked to him about it. I'm giving him time to articulate himself. Okay. So you went the same route as chat. Chat, welfare Cs aren't good because they're free. They literally are made to be good. Why do the devs make them good? That's what I'm asking. Why do devs make welfare Cs good? Shouldn't they make them bad? The answer is in the name. Because they're welfare. So Avalon finally got it. They're accessible. The devs need to make sure that you have a certain capability, at least from craft essences. That's why. That's why welfare Cs are good. They need to make sure that people's accounts at least have certain capabilities. And so they make sure that the welfare Cs they give out are usually pretty good. It's the same thing when you look at welfare units. They need to know and establish a baseline for certain capabilities for an account. So they make sure that all the welfare units are basically the equivalent of a 5-star, because you get all 5 copies of a 4-star. So yeah, I think everything else, like they're free, they increase player engagement, they help you do the event. That is the icing on the cake to them. If they're bad, then the community will start ignoring the Cs being offered for free. No, because, like, for instance, I can't look at the CE from this event that way. So chat. Oh, whoops. Is this craft essence good? Yes, kinda. I don't know. No idea, can't read moon runes. This craft essence is extremely good. The thing about it is, you would use this craft essence either way. So it's not because the craft essence is good that you want to do the event. Because you're going to use this craft essence during the event regardless because of this. This is the event effect of the CE that is literally like, hey, you get increased drops, hey, you get increased points, hey, you get increased attack, whatever. You're going to use it during the event regardless of whether or not it's good, because it gives you a benefit in the event. That doesn't answer why craft essences are good, though. Because what happens when the event is over? Then only this is a thing. Like I said, They hand these out specifically to make sure that accounts have a certain baseline. That's what they're trying to do with these. An attack, full attack stat. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing stopping them from being like, this is full HP, or like, these effects aren't as good. Like, they could absolutely give you a crappier CE. But it is what it is. They give you good Cs because they want you to have that capability. And then, oh, were you not around for this event? Cool, you can have this, but we're now going to tax you for it. Pay us 5,000 mana prisms. And they do this all the time. It's literally like almost constantly a thing. They can lower the party cost? True, they could, but I don't think they want to. And yeah, sorry. I may be thinking of was it the prior event that had the power mod on it, Avalon? I may have been mistaking that C when I called it extremely good. Yeah, the anti-female one. Yeah, Desert Maiden. Thank you. Yeah, this C's cracked. And it's also a welfare. Like, all attack scaling, 50% gauge, 30% extra power mod against female enemies, which is one of the rarest niches in the game. Not in the sense of like the niche is small, in the sense of like almost nobody offers this like as a niche. So it's really a great welfare CE. And you would use it regardless because it gave you more damage during the event. So, like I said, they don't have to give you craft essences like this, but they do. And it's really redonkulously good that they do. I mean, you name it, like Ocean Flyer, Aerial Drive, Cranking. Like we have had so many good craft essences over the years that were given out just from events. They do not have to do that. And frankly speaking, some of those craft essences are just outright better than the gotcha Cs. So at that point, like, to bring this back full circle, like, yes, I it's not that I find gotcha Cs underwhelming. It's that a lot of the time, like, gotcha Cs are forced to compete with a completely free CE that is actually good. So like the welfare Cs just are so nice with how they're designed, and that lessens your need to actually roll for these. Which is, if you start thinking about craft essences as this game's version of weapons that you see maybe in some of the other gotchas, imagine, chat, if like the developers just kept giving you 5-star weapons that were best in slot over and over and over and over and over again for free. Really lessens the amount you need to roll for any particular weapon, doesn't it? Everyone hates rolling for Honey Lake, Black Grail, and Mudrain. I mean, one of those is not like the others. Honey Lake is at least a limited gotcha C, so when it gets a banner, it's a lot easier to roll for generally. Compared to Black Grail and Mudrain, which are completely chance-based, right? And don't get me wrong, like, yeah, in that regard, you could almost make an argument that while the game gives you free 5-star CEs, this game almost has the equivalent of 6-star CEs in the form of like Black Grail. They're just exceedingly rare, and if you manage to get them, it's like, oh my god, you just win, right? It wouldn't be terrible if they gave a Tauntcy as a free event C. Yeah, I'm really not sure what their logic is on Tauntsies and why they keep choosing not to do anything with it. Oh, I think I accidentally tapped the screen. Yeah, okay. I was like, the heck? Bring back Poster Gorilla single. I don't know why they keep it gone, but they keep like not returning Tauntsies, and when they do return them, they're on very bad banners usually. Not in the sense of like the unit is bad, but in the sense of like the banner for the craft essences is bad because it's like a multi-raid up. Has Poster Girl been rerun? Yeah, several times. Black Grail is overrated. Haven't used my MLB Black Grail for almost 2 years. Huh? I'm not sure if you're joking. I feel like you're joking and I'm getting one guide right now. But like literally it is the strongest craft essence in the entire game. It's kind of hard to say that it's overrated. Yeah, I'm not gonna go all in on that because I feel like that's bait. Taunt MC soon, chat copium. A Taunt MC would be really interesting. React to the hottest FGO hot takes. I mean, I could do that, but I feel like that just caused drama. I mean, listen, maybe he has a reason for thinking that. I disagree with it. It's fine. He's welcome to his opinion. I'm not sure why he thinks that. It's why they'll never make another Black Grail clone outside of Phantasm Princess and Mudrain. I think that sentence also doesn't work because you literally pointed out the 2 clones of it that already exist, which means there's nothing stopping them from making a third. Plenty of servant have taunt if you want to build around it like Chin Gong. Yeah, I think like not having a taunt C nowadays is a lot less bad due to the plethora of options, but there are still times where it is extremely valuable to at least have like 2 taunt Cs. Not 1, 2. Because unfortunately, for better or worse, even though there are units like Chin Gong that have taunt on them, it's not necessarily the unit you need for that situation. So it's like, this is the problem with having a unit-based solution. A craft essence can be slapped on anyone. A unit-based solution means you must take that unit, and that can cause issues. Outrage has been MVP for me. You know what was MVP for me? Poster Girl. It's still funny running through the raids for LB7 and everyone was like, why are you using Poster Girl? And I'm like, you'll see. God, that was a good thing too. And it was the perfect C for it. It was a classic example of like, this is exactly where Poster Girl is extremely valuable. Because I think a lot of people over the years have kind of slandered Poster Girl as like, well, it's the one that scales with HP, so it's not as good. And I'm like, sure, if you want a level 1 person to die with a taunt C on, it's not the best option. But oh man, if you actually need the health value to stay alive for 3 turns, that C is really freaking good. Someone like Seal. Yeah, so I was doing one of the Ordeal Call 2 remembrances. My entire party died. Everyone died. Except Seal. And Seal, like everyone had guts on them. They all still died. Except Seal. Seal didn't even have the guts get popped. It's like, it's so freaking stupid how strong that unit is at times. Problem with Saber Faces is no survivability because you mentioned that one time. Yeah, I mean, they don't have no survivability, they're extremely weak on it, usually. Especially once you get all of her skills leveled up. Oh, yeah. All right, chat. It's 11 o'clock. I actually didn't expect that talk to go that long, but you guys were spitballing some really good ideas. I really wanted to talk about it. I thought this was a really productive and good talk. I'm definitely going to like implement some of these ideas. So stay tuned in the coming days. May tweak some things. I may talk to you guys again about some of the other ones, like some of the more elaborate ideas, and see like how you guys want to actually like go about implementing them. But I really do think this was a good productive discussion. So I'm optimistic for the future in this regard, and I hope that you guys are too. Let me see who all's on. Yeah. I am seeing. Okay, I got Kuan on. I'm gonna raid him. He's doing some art. Kuan has he's another fantastic artist, and he's done some art for me. He's drawn Aurelia a couple of times, so go give Kuan some love. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Like I said, expect we'll probably get the class score guide out tomorrow on YouTube. And again, if you guys can, make sure you help me on that side of things. Subscribe to the CAD Plays secondary channel so we can get the subscriber numbers there up. Obviously, join us on the Discord. We're always happy to have new faces in there. And again, follow me on Twitch. Free. Follows are free, chat. Be back for the next one. Go give Kuan my love. Have a good evening. And if I don't get to see you guys, have a good weekend. Later.